text. And there is a lot happening today and has been happening over the last 24, 48 hours. And so we're sure you have thoughts on all of the things that are going on in the world. So that's a way to get a hold of us. You can also leave us a voicemail, 314-944-1120. And we are on Twitter and Instagram at the show KMOX. So it's not the place you want to start. It's not how you want to begin your Tuesday. I almost said Monday. Well, off yesterday, back in today. So on this day, on Tuesday, we again wake up to news of a mass shooting. If you had gone to bed early last night, you may have not seen it happen, but there were late press conferences, at least a couple of them. I know the East Lansing Police Department, the school police department near Michigan State University, they held press conferences at 11:30 our time. They did again around 12:30 last night because a gunman by the name of Anthony McRae he's 43 years old. He went into two buildings. He started at a place called Berkey Hall where he shot multiple people. Two of them have died. At the MSU Union, after he left that building, the Union is adjacent to it. He killed one person there. Again, multiple people still in the hospital, 5 in critical condition as of right now. So 3 people have died, 5 are in the hospital, and we don't know why he did it, though he did end up committing suicide at some point, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That's how this came to an end. So another nightmare is happening in this country, and it's happening at a school. It's not a grade school. It's not a high school, but still, it's a place where you don't expect something like this to happen, and it's happening again in America.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen this before at universities. This one, as you mentioned, in Michigan, the police responded to the call of an active shooter within minutes. They said there was an overwhelming police response. They're still looking for a motive. We're finding more out about the gunman, Anthony Dwayne McRae. He was arrested in 2019. He was charged with a felony for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit. A police officer found him sitting behind an abandoned building smoking a cigarette. And he asked if he had a weapon, and McRae said he did. And the police searched him and found the weapon and saw that he didn't have a permit for it. And initially they argued, that the officer lacked probable cause to search him, but he was sentenced to a year of probation. And that's what we know. Several years pass. It sounds like there's nothing else on his record after that. The motivation's not known. More will come out.
Yeah. And so what they say, the police, the exact words from the police department in regard to why they think he targeted that campus, because he doesn't appear to have any ties to Michigan State. Their exact words were no idea. They have no idea why he went to that university and did what he did. I don't even know if it matters. I don't think it matters what the motivation is. The reality is that 3 people are dead, and that number is I don't know if I want to say likely to climb, but it is very possible that number climbs, that we have more deaths as a result of this. 67 mass shootings, and a mass shooting is considered 4 victims or more. And there are some varying definitions, but for the most part, that's about the agreed upon number. This is 67 in 2023 alone. Not all at schools. Some of them are in different places, but every time this happens, we go through the same process over again, and we do it every time. We say, why does this keep happening? How does this keep happening? How do we prevent it from happening? We're appalled that it happens. We go about our lives, and then it happens again. And then we do this over and over and over, and I don't understand why we are not angry enough about this collectively to really do something about it. Because what we do is we say, well, it's guns, it's mental illness. Okay, great. Let's do something about mental illness. What are we doing about mental illness? Because to me, every time we even start to talk about weapons, the conversation goes this way. Well, it isn't that. It's because this person is sick. And yeah, this person is probably sick, but this person shouldn't have a weapon. And I don't know where he got it. I don't know if it was legally purchased, but I know he shouldn't have a weapon. And anytime we even begin to have this conversation, somebody always wants to deflect and they'll bring up the mental illness, but they don't really want to do anything about mental illness either. They just want you to stop talking about guns. But it is very clearly part of our problem. Guns are very clearly part of our problem. It's just not debatable. And I know we want to keep, making this more difficult, and we want to shift away from the truth because we don't want to actually tackle what's going on here. But we have a very serious issue, and we need to get serious about it.
We have a large country. We have a country with a very large population, a very diverse population. And what we know is that gun violence is affecting and hurting every community in our country, cross-culturally, schools, churches, dance halls, social events, whatever it may be. We're all affected by gun violence because we talk about how the United States is unique in its scope and its diversity. It's different than Ireland. It's different than Sweden. We get it, and it's unique. But what we also have is a extraordinary, and by extraordinary, I'm not saying in a good way. I'm saying as out of the ordinary gun culture. We have more guns than we have people. That's different than in a lot of countries, the number of guns that we have. We also do have, as you mentioned, mental illness. We have violent people. We have criminals. And when you put all of those things together with the number of guns and the ease with which people can obtain guns, you're going to have these incidents. And you're always going to be playing whack-a-mole. And you're always going to be chasing the next shooter. So what do? I think we have to tone down the binary nature of the conversation as either been pro-gun or anti-gun and realize, you know what? We have a pretty complicated culture. We're going to have to make some common sense laws, red flag laws that address behaviors, activities, whether it's mental health issues or criminal behaviors that say, you know what? You are someone that should not have a gun. We need to make sure that red flag laws are on the books so that loved ones, family members, co-workers can say, I've seen this person day in and day out. This person is displaying behavior that should be checked into. Yes, you can make the burden of evidence heavy, but have it available so that we can start taking action on the gun violence that we're seeing. This should be a conversation that both sides can have without it immediately turning into a quote unquote culture war conversation that stagnates because it can't go anywhere. We're all affected by this. All of us. I don't care how much you make, what you look like, what you believe. Gun violence has hit all of our communities.
And there are different forms of gun violence, mass shootings, going to a shopping mall or a school or an office. That's not the only kind of gun violence. There is the standard robbery, crimes of passion, or crimes of opportunity. There's that sort of thing. It's not always a premeditated, I'm going to this place where I know it's going to be crowded and I know people aren't going to, they're going to be taken by surprise. It's not always that. I understand that. And I understand that we are a unique country, but we are not so unique that we can't do anything about it. What it takes is will to do something about it. And here's where the problem lies. I don't think we have the will to do it. I think there are a lot of people who want to do it. We don't have the will to do it because we have already decided that this is just how we are going to live. We have decided that it is as important or more important to be able to get weapons whenever you want to, that hobby or whatever you want to call it. I want to protect my family. I like to go to the range. I'm a responsible gun owner. And I know that most gun owners are responsible. I get that. But I understand also that we have a problem of too many of them. And that leads us to where we are today. It leads us to Michigan State. It leads us to Sandy Hook. It leads us to Las Vegas. It leads us to those sorts of, it leads us to North City. Mm-hmm. It leads us to all kinds of different places that we don't need to be in. We just don't have the will to do anything about it. So this pattern in my lifetime, I don't know if this is ever going to change. I think we're just going to keep doing this until I'm gone.
I mean, I don't know. I hope not. I mean, I hope that it does change. I hope in your lifetime you do see hope. Here's what I know. If your first response is, well, it's not going to stop all the shootings, fine. But what if you could
Nothing
stop
stops
this
everything.
one? What if
Yes.
you could stop this one? Can you tell a mom at a school and say, you know what? It wasn't worth stopping this one. Well, we can stop some because that by that reasoning, there should be no laws. Because what's the point? If it's not going to stop. Well, I have speed limits. It's not going to stop people from speeding, but it stops some people. And also, we talked to Steve Butts last week about in Jefferson City, the legislators voting to have a special prosecutor step in when there's violent crime reaches a certain number, a certain ratio in the city of St. Louis. And Steve Butts was for that special prosecutor. But he voted no on the measure because Republicans took out a clause in that bill that would have made it illegal for kids under the age of 18 to carry a weapon without adult supervision. And my point is, you can't complain about the crime in the city and then handcuff the police and stop their ability to fight crime by making gun laws so lenient that anyone, including a 14-year-old, can walk around the city with a gun. You have to understand the situation and say, yes, we're going to fight crime in St. Louis. We're also not going to impede police officers' ability to take guns from those who shouldn't have them.
And let's make clear what he's talking about there. If police see a guy, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, whatever, walking around the city with a weapon like that, just out, they can't even ask him what he's doing. They can't even go up to him and be like, hey, man, what's the deal with the weapon? Where are you planning to go? What's going on? They can't even do that. So I don't understand why so many people, unless it's strictly financial, because I'm positive of this. The gun lobby spends money, and there are politicians who make money from gun lobbyists. It's that simple. So they don't want to do anything about it, even though the general public is overwhelmingly in favor of stuff like background checks, expanding that stuff. Overwhelmingly, the public wants that. It's something like 4 out of every 5 people want to do something like that. And that's just the basic. So I don't know. I feel very defeated about it because it just keeps happening. There are times I feel numb when it happens. There are times I feel angry when this happens. I get sad about it too. It's just I want it to stop, and I hate being defeatist about this, but I just don't feel like anything's going to come of it, and we're just waiting until the next one happens.
Well, maybe, I mean, as I said, it's hitting all of our communities. It happened here in St. Louis. You would think we'll get to a tipping point that once all of us have seen it in our neighborhoods, we say something has to be done. I hope it doesn't take that long.
You'd think. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. It's KMOX.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 AM further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Give your sweetheart an experience rather than a gift, like a night out for dinner or a couple's massage. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler, of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room. Over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Work or play, KMOX is right there with you. We go where you go.
It's the show on KMOX. Hey, it's also Valentine's Day today.
That's
Are
right.
we celebrating or?
We are celebrating by playing anti-Valentine's Day songs, aka breakup songs.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I think it just reaches to everybody. If you're celebrating Valentine's Day, you can laugh along, sing the song. And if you are not celebrating, you can commiserate with the song.
It's a, I don't know, man. I know it's a made up I guess all holidays to an extent are made up, but this one it's fine. It's fine. I can deal with Valentine's Day. I don't mind it. What I don't like is Sweetest Day.
What is Sweetest Day?
I think it's in September. I never even heard about it until I went away to college. But
What?
it's like a Valentine's Day. I don't know what the difference is. I still don't know what the difference of Sweetest Day to Valentine's Day is. It just seems like a second Valentine's
Is
Day.
Sweetest Day for people, because technically it's St. Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if you don't honor holidays that have to do with saints, you
Yeah.
do Sweetest Day.
So Sweetest Day is a day of showing affection with little gifts of candy or acts of kindness.
This was invented by the Mars Company, wasn't it?
Well, it's a Midwestern holiday, apparently.
Yeah, it's fake.
Yeah.
That's fake. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Midwestern holiday, Midwestern U.S., Northeastern U.S. Let's see, Arizona, Florida, they celebrate it.
Yeah.
Third Saturday in October. So I think you can just ignore it.
Ignore it. Yeah, that's dumb. Valentine's Day is fine. I don't get the over the top celebration, or you expect your significant other to go over the top with their expressions of love for you or reservations or fancy night out. But I also don't like over the top things in general when it comes to relationships. I usually think the more elaborate the proposal, the less chance you have of it actually working out. Sorry. If you are elaborate and you have 100 people and you coordinate a dance and you film it on TikTok, you're breaking up in a year.
I don't know about that.
That is my theory. Literally every time someone shows a very elaborate, over the top, very showy proposal, I just think that's not going to last.
Do you know what bothers me? And it shouldn't. And I'm sorry if you do this because I bet your photos are very nice. But I always think it's really weird when people hire photographers to capture the proposal. So they'll be off in the distance and with I don't know, I guess a zoom lens or something, and they are capturing this moment, this magical moment where you get down on a knee and ask your lady to marry you.
Yeah.
I just think that's weird. I think it's weird to hire
So-
a moment that's supposed to be kind of private in the first place, and now you're acting like it's spontaneous. But how spontaneous can it be if you got this photographer with you?
I'm going to make so many people mad, but I just don't like the whole photo sessions, the engagement sessions, the pregnancy photographs.
All of it.
Pregnancies photographs are so weird to me. I'm so sorry to everyone who did it. You do you. It's America. We have our opinions. If you love them, all power to you. Thank you for supporting our
That's
local
right.
photographers. Personally, I don't want to see you in a negligee, like holding your stomach. Like, that's great, but like, it's not my baby. I don't know. Like, why do I care? I barely know you. It's not my kid. You look great, I guess. What am I supposed to say to that? I mean, that would be like me eating like a ton of Mexican food and being super bloated, and I take a picture. I'm like, here is my food, baby. And they're like, well, I didn't eat the Mexican food. I'm like, that's right. I didn't have the baby. I don't know why I'm supposed to care. It's weird.
Let me just say something to you real quick,
Yeah.
because I am with you until you said, what about my food baby photo? Because that's not the same thing. I
not.
recognize the food baby is not the same,
As an actual
but
baby.
I also agree the photos themselves are,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the whole
It's-
photo shoot. Why does everything have to be a photo shoot?
I don't know.
Why can't we just live,
My sister got engaged a couple of weeks ago. It was just the family in the family room. It was a surprise. You know who the photographer was? Me. And I couldn't get the phone out of my pocket.
Of course you.
And I'm like, I gotta get a picture.
I absolutely wouldn't ask you to do it.
Well, they didn't ask me. No,
Oh.
he didn't ask anyone to take a picture. I just wanted to.
That's Amy Mark's course. She hates her baby. I'm Chris Ranji. It's the show on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I hope you'll join me and Mike Claiborne as we navigate through the Cardinals offseason with the Countdown to Opening Day show. We'll bring you all the latest on the 2023 St. Louis Cardinals, new players news, and what to expect from team management. You'll hear from the skipper to the front office, Cardinals players and coaches, along with broadcasters John Rooney and Ricky Horton. Catch all the Redbirds action on the Countdown to Opening Day show.
Presented by Ameren. Wednesday night at 6 on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. KMOX.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Are you concerned about outliving your money? Well, how would you like to have guaranteed growth and a lifetime of income you may never outlive? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs and ideas that challenge reality itself.
My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell, and for some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weaponized. Follow and listen to Weaponized, a presentation of Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Dark Horse Entertainment, and Cadence 13 Studios. Available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your shows.
It is 10:31. I'm Debbie Monterey, and right now we've got cloudy skies and some drizzle in downtown St. Louis. It looks like 49 degrees. The pace of consumer price increases eased again in January compared with a year earlier. The latest sign that the high inflation that's gripped Americans for nearly 2 years is slowing. Coca-Cola raising prices to offset inflation, but said that didn't impact demand for its drinks during the fourth quarter. The beverage giant saying its revenue rose 7% to $10.1 billion, slightly ahead of Wall Street's forecast. And Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor and UN ambassador, has announced her candidacy for presidency. She had once said that she would not challenge former President Donald Trump, but becomes the first major challenger to him for the 2024 Republican nomination. Looks like we've got a stalled vehicle 64 westbound past Big Bend. Before that was just blocking the shoulder, but now it looks like it's blocking the left lane. That left lane is closed. And still an issue with 70 eastbound to Florissant Road. Looks like they should be in the process of clearing that. It had been a problem for about half an hour. It's going to be a rainy day today, so just be prepared. Right now we've got light rain in the region. It's 49 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Don't worry, you didn't miss a thing. The amazing Payment Freedom event is back at St. Charles Nissan. All you need to do is head to St. Charles Nissan, choose your favorite new ride, and then drive payment free until the summer of 2023. That's right, you make no car payments until summer 2023 at St. Charles Nissan, conveniently located a quarter-mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off I-70, or you can visit online at stcharlesnissan.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires 2/28/23.
15 years ago, we were adding on to our home. And so I convinced Sean we should update the kitchen.
We did some research and we decided to go with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Their reputation was phenomenal. To design, do the construction and the finish work, what we wanted was what we got from start to finish. So fast forward 15 years, our family's changed. We've gotten bigger.
There just wasn't the space in the kitchen anymore. People were banging into each other.
We decided 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Here's the problem. What are our solutions? Comparing working with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath 15 years ago, today, their ability to design what you want was the same.
Everything has been what I want.
The quality of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I think, is phenomenal. The countertops and the cabinets that they use are great. They were just good guys doing good work.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Hi, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinals spring training. Stay up to date with my reports from Redbirds Camp, mornings and afternoons, and Sports Open Line weeknights from the T.R. Hughes Homes Broadcast Center.
Spring training coverage, sponsored in part by Norm's Bargain Barn, on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Amy Marchkowitz and Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX. 1 o'clock, Dave Glover comes in. We hang out with them for an hour. It has been a day that's there's been a lot going on, as we mentioned, over the last 24 hours. And your text messages, phone calls, welcome, 314-436-7900. You can call or text that number. This from a 618 says, in response to the gun conversation we were having off the top, after Michigan State's shooting last night, 3 people are dead. There are 5 in critical condition. Some of them have had surgeries. And so that death toll could rise. Hopefully it does not. But this text says, So what happens when we get invaded? We can't protect ourselves. Our corrupt government kicks in martial law and locks us all down. Then you'll wish you had guns. We have an army. We have a military.
Well,
we
we're
have the
not
strongest
talking about
military in the world.
confiscating guns from every citizen in the United States.
We're
Here's
saying
the
we
thing.
just have too many.
We have a lot. We have too many. And also, our gun laws are far too loose to the point that it's inhibiting the ability of law enforcement to do their job. And a lot of times, if you're pro-gun, you happen to be pro-law enforcement, we need to equip them with the legal tools to stem crime. We're not talking about taking guns from all Americans. And I don't buy. There is no slippery slope argument here. We already have some gun restrictions. We just need to adjust them accordingly. This is not a slippery slope. The United States government is not taking away 400 million guns from the citizens of the United States. What it is doing is saying if you have a history of certain types of criminal activity, certain signs of mental illness or other erratic behavior that would show that you shouldn't have a gun. It enables loved ones to have law enforcement look into that and also have a permit. If you're a legal gun owner, a responsible gun owner, you should have no problem getting a permit.
And you should have no problem registering your weapon.
And registering your weapon.
And there should be no problem once you purchase your weapon, it being tracked if you sell it to somebody else.
And
or if you lose it.
As Steve Butts pointed out last week, right now in Missouri, we have stricter laws and higher requirements for squirrel hunting in Missouri than we do have for youths carrying guns around the city of St. Louis. That doesn't make sense.
So 314-436-7900 if you want to weigh in on that or anything else. Voicemails 314-944-1120. Somebody that all of us here know, I interned for Dan McLaughlin at KMOX back in 1998. He was a pretty young sports guy here at this station. Went on, of course, to become the television play-by-play voice of the Cardinals for a couple of decades. We all know back in December, there was the arrest for driving under the influence. He has lost that job, and he and the Cardinals decided mutually to part ways. Last night, Dan made a Facebook post. He also he put it out on Twitter as well, and it was a very long, well thought out, extremely open. He explained what happened to him, what he did, took full responsibility for his actions, for making another massive mistake, and he owns that. And it's really good and long, and I would encourage anybody to go and read the full thing. You can find Dan on Facebook or find him on Twitter. But there's this one part that I think might be the most important of all the things he said. And this is a quote from Dan McLaughlin's Facebook page. I decided to write this because I don't want that evening to be a waste. It doesn't have to be. Others don't have to make the mistakes I did. I have to live with the consequences of my actions and try to repair the damage I've done to both my professional and personal life. Beyond the justice system, that's my sentence. However, I hope this resonates with someone who reads this. If my mistake can lead to a positive outcome for just one person, then as hard as this is to write and expose my interpersonal flaws and vulnerabilities, then writing this was worth it. If you read this and you feel or have felt the same way, get help. If you know of somebody that deals with depression, anxiety, or alcoholism, I implore you to not wait and see what happens. Reach out to them and get them help. And Dan goes into his long battle with depression. I think we all know, each one of us knows a lot of people who are depressed. Now, we may not know for sure they're depressed. We may suspect it, or they may hide it really, really well, and you never know. And then you have other people in your life who are open about their depression. There's still for a lot of folks out there, there's a stigma and there is a shame that goes along with feeling depression, having depression, and battling mental illness, that they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to put it out there. They feel like they need to hold it inside. And I think what Dan's message here is don't do that. And if you feel like you need help, get it. And that's what he's doing now. He's getting the help, and I'm glad he's getting the help. It's unfortunate all of this happened. It's great that nobody was hurt, including him, in what happened in December. But the important thing here is that if you are feeling a mental illness, you have got to get assistance. And if you're somebody who knows somebody who might seem like something's off, reach out to him.
Yeah.
At bare minimum, do that.
And that's what he says. That's how he opens his letter. Again, you mentioned Dan McLaughlin is part of the KMOX family, part of the St. Louis Cardinals family. He is such an integral voice in the identity of St. Louis. And he opens his letter and he says, I am an alcoholic. I have severe depression and anxiety. I'm a human being. I'm flawed. I make mistakes, and some mistakes are more costly than others. In this case, my mistake has taken away my dream job, my career, my dignity, and my self-worth. I'm ashamed, embarrassed, and I'm incredibly sad. However, I don't want pity. I hope this can be a wake-up call if you're struggling and a push to check on your loved ones, even if it's hard. And as you mentioned, that's the key here. And I did retweet it on my Twitter page at Amy Mark Scores so that you can read the letter. And I think if you are afraid that a loved one or a good friend is struggling with depression and anxiety, your initial response might be awkwardness, or you might be afraid that if you bring it up, it might go poorly. But it's that chance you take because you love the person. You love the person more than you fear an awkward moment. And I think depression tries to tell you that you're alone. Depression tries to convince you that you're alone, there's no hope, and no one will get you. And that's not true. You're not alone. And you're loved, and you're needed, and there is hope.
But there is a lot of shame that goes with it. And I don't know if we're ever going to get to a place where people feel entirely comfortable talking about what's going on with them. But any progress we make is good progress. And then that's really the issue, is that if you hold, like Dan says in his letter, if you hold it in or think you have a handle on it and, I can deal with this, sometimes it can get away from you, especially if you are, predisposed to have something like this. There should be no shame in getting help, and there should be no shame in telling somebody. And again, if you're a friend of somebody or a family member, do not feel like you're overreaching. If you sense something might be wrong, just talk to them. And hopefully be able to get them some professional help if that's what's needed.
And if we look at depression, anxiety, like we do an injury, if you saw a loved one walking around limping with a broken leg, and that person didn't get help and you didn't push them for help, that would be not very caring, right? And the stigma would be in not helping that person. You would want to get them help. Just because this is an invisible thing that you're dealing with, just because it's in your brain, it doesn't mean that it's any less real than a broken bone.
Right.
And we would never let our loved ones walk around with a broken bone. We shouldn't let them to fend for themselves if they're walking around dealing with anxiety or depression.
Listen, your mental illness, your mental health absolutely can and does affect your physical health too.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
If you are depressed, if you feel that way all the time, that can lead to heart issues,
stomach
down the road.
issues,
stomach stuff. Yeah, like anxiety that is uncontrollable, that can lead to all kinds of issues. So it's not just it's not stupid to say, yes, I've got a mental illness that I need to work on, or I need to get addressed in some way. That's okay, because it could cause, and a lot of times does cause, physical problems down the road. So wish the best for Dan. It's a really sad situation. He took full ownership of it, and he has to, because he did make a mistake, and it's a big mistake, and he's having to pay for it, which is what we all do. We all have to pay for the mistakes we make. The bottom line for him here is that he does need the help, and he is getting it. And I'm glad that is happening. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, did you see this? Is next on the show.
When do you need to see an ophthalmologist? Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Now, that's a good question. If your vision is blurry, you notice dark spots in the middle of your field of vision, you're seeing flashes or new floaters, if you have difficulty seeing distances, if there's a sharp pain in one eye, along with vision changes, or if you have trouble driving because of glare, these are all good reasons to make your appointment with the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com. And if your eyes are itchy and scratchy, that might be more than allergies. The doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Andrew Royer, and Robert Brusati are also leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. I've been a patient of theirs for about 25 years. In Sullivan, St. Peter's, and their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs Windborne's The Music of the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, 1969, celebrating the 50th anniversary of two iconic albums, Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed. Conductor Brent Havens, vocalist Nick Adams, and the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, February 25th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org. Courtesy of Abco Music.
Hey guys, David Rach here from the DGS for our good friends at SmartMouth.
The great thing about SmartMouth is once you use it, you're never going to go back to those other brands. That's because SmartMouth actually works. It uses science to eliminate your bad breath at the source for up to 12 hours per rinse. Scope, Listerine, TheraBreath, they can't make those claims because they don't actually work at the end of the day like SmartMouth does.
Also, you can't do anything better for your oral health than SmartMouth DDS. Go to smartmouth.com/Glover to download a $2.50 off coupon on anything.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Planning for an upcoming trip? It's important to know that updated COVID-19 boosters are currently available at no cost to you. Remember that immunity could take time to build. Check eligibility and schedule at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back to the show.
Yeah, the show
on KMOX.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
Raj, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh, good.
I know. And the Cracker Barrel, well, they are getting into the spirit of things. They are offering free food to people willing to pop the question, aka propose, at one of its locations, not just today, but all week, February 10th through February 16th. If you propose at the Cracker Barrel and then record it and upload it to Instagram for entry, you could win free Cracker Barrel for a year.
For a year, okay.
It's 5 winning couples.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was Cracker Barrel for life.
Well, I thought when you started with the story, I thought it was like you get your meal for free.
No.
Well, that doesn't seem like very much.
That's not a great deal. No, I thought it was Cracker Barrel for life, but it's Cracker Barrel for a year if you win 5. I feel like what I'm trying to say is, if you love the Cracker Barrel, don't propose just for the food, because you might not win, but you might be stuck with someone if you didn't really mean it.
What you're saying that people, just the proposal itself, regardless of where it happens, is a mistake?
No. If you're thinking, I'm kind of on the fence about Betty.
Yeah,
I'm kind of on the fence about Betty, but I love Cracker Barrel. And for the rest of my life, I could have Cracker Barrel. I'm going to propose to Betty at Cracker Barrel. First of all, it's not for life. It's only for a year. And second of all, you still have to be entered to win, because only 5 couples are going to win. I just think it's too risky if you're not ready to spend the rest of your life with Betty.
I would absolutely not let the Cracker Barrel thing be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Would you?
But you shouldn't do it in public anyway.
Does proposing at Cracker Barrel unless there's like a super inside joke that you're both in on. No offense to Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel's fine.
Cracker Barrel's great. I'm just saying, I also, to me, if someone proposed on the Jumbotron at a baseball game
it's the worst.
or a hockey game, it's over.
Man.
I mean, that's the breakup.
If you propose on the Jumbotron, you deserve to have her say no.
That's right.
You deserve it. And I hope she does say no to you.
It's a huge red flag.
I just think there should be a proposal field. Like you have to go to this private field, and that's it. You go propose over there. You don't have to do it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to a field, to be honest. It sounds like it could be muddy, bad. Like today, the field would be a mess.
There's a cute little bridge there.
Again,
you could stand on the bridge.
Listen, 314-436-7900. My theory is the more elaborate, involved, and planned and showy the proposal is, the less chance you have of it working out. I have seen many an Instagram proposal video, and my reaction is, that's not going to work out. That's how I feel. I feel the same way about really, really mushy social media posts. The couples that post every single day, love you, babe, you're the best. Every day, I'm so grateful that I have you. Love you.
That's not
going to work.
Let me tell you this about those.
Yeah.
In my experience, and this is only me.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to, if your lady or your dude that you have is like that, constantly posting about how much they love you, I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm just telling you that there's about a 33% chance at minimum they're also cheating on you.
Oh.
Because I'm not kidding you. I know a lot of things about a lot of people in my life.
Yeah.
Stuff I'm not supposed to know. And inevitably, every time I see somebody who does that a lot, I know what they're like. I know what they're like outside of their relationship.
Interesting. See, I don't know anything. I'm not good at gossip. I'm very naive when it comes to these things, and nobody tells me anything, and I'm glad. However, when I see the mushy and frequent Facebook social media posts, it's kind of an over-under of, are all these posts going to be deleted in 2 months or 5 months? And I pretty much know. And then one day you wake up and all the posts are gone.
Amazing how that happens.
It's amazing.
Our favorite quarterback in the world, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Have you heard about this, Amy? Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, is going on what is called a 4-day darkness retreat.
Okay.
And it's supposed to start later in this week. And here's how he describes it. 4 nights of total darkness.
4 days and 4 nights.
That's correct. You're not locked in. You can leave if you can't do it. You can just walk out the door. But it's a darkness retreat. This is Aaron Rodgers speaking. I've had a number of friends who have done it and have had some profound experiences, and it is something that has been on my radar for a few years. So, total darkness, no music, no nothing. That's it. They'll bring in food for you, but there's no stimulus whatsoever. Isn't that called solitary confinement? And
Cruel.
Don't people go nuts?
Yeah, cruel and unusual punishment. And he elaborates. It's just sitting in isolation, meditation, dealing with your thoughts. It stimulates DMT, so there can be some hallucinations in there, but it's just kind of sitting in silence. It's cruel and unusual punishment.
Could you do this?
Me?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it for 10 minutes.
Couldn't either.
But says Rodgers has previously discussed using, and I don't know how to say it, but it's a psychedelic drink made of Amazonian plants.
Is it the ayahuasca?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
In a
I
retreat.
just heard somebody talking about that this weekend. Doing it for themselves. They were going to go on this retreat in like October. But it's not the darkness retreat. It's whatever you do when you have the ayahuasca.
Ranj, I don't want to be judgy. To each his own. It's America, right? America. I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of a weirdo.
Oh, no, he's a super weirdo.
This is really weird. This is cruel and unusual punishment to do that. Where do you go to the bathroom? In the dark?
They've got great question.
I wonder if your body functions. I wonder if they stop or they get messed up because you have none of the stimulus of daily life.
I can't imagine doing anything like this, and I don't know how it helps. I feel like it would, if you have any sort of severe mental illness and you do this, that again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that would help.
No.
It
Okay.
seems like that would make it worse.
You're a sports guy.
Yeah.
I like the Packers. I liked Aaron Rodgers, but then it seemed up until a few years ago, he was just a quarterback, and maybe it was 5 years ago. I don't know. When did he make this turn to being very bizarre, very outspoken? Has he always been like this?
Yeah, he's always been kind of weird. And
was it
he
just
didn't get
not in the
along with-
headlines?
Yeah, well, no, he didn't get along with his brother.
Okay.
Because he's a weirdo. And yeah, it seems to have progressively gotten worse.
One of the best tweets I saw, because Aaron Rodgers did not play in a playoff game, a woman tweeted out, well, looks like Aaron Rodgers did his own research on how to get into the postseason.
Great tweet. Because he also did his own research on the vaccines and decided he wasn't going to take them. That's Amy Mark Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. How about $500 a month? Would you like to have that? No strings attached? It's a possibility, and it's next on KMOX.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very intense. I had instability. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving past the Good Feet store. I mean, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure they fit me with the right thing. They brought out several different arch supports and gave me the opportunity to try them in shoes and walk around with them until they found the perfect ones. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort you might have been missing for years. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
After a decade of rising home values, Fed Chair Powell says we're entering a difficult market correction. Translation, your home's value is likely to plunge. That's bad news for all homeowners, but especially if you're retired or nearing retirement and need the cash that's tied up in your home. Here's a smart solution, TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home today before values plunge. But here's what makes TrueHold unique. You can continue living in your home with a comfortable rent. The cash is yours now to do whatever you like. Travel and enjoy retirement, invest it, pay off all your bills, whatever. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. TrueHold is the simple, easy solution to unlock financial freedom without having to move and disrupt your life. Discover how much TrueHold will give you now, while its value is high. Call 855-300-9993. Again, 855-300-9993. That's TrueHold. Visit TrueHold.com. TrueHold.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got clouds and 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, and our top story this hour comes from spring training.
The Cardinals have announced a contract extension for President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak at a news conference this morning in Jupiter. Mozeliak has headed the team's baseball operation for 15 winning seasons. He credits many others in the organization.
Our major league staff, run by Ollie and his group, we all get along, we have fun. We don't always have to agree on stuff, but it's engaging. And then, You look at what we've been able to accomplish on the player development side and the scouting side. We have great people running these things, and we're having a lot of success.
Mozeliak is the second longest tenured baseball operations head, second to only Brian Cashman of the Yankees. In Jupiter, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Police at the University of Michigan say a gunman who opened fire, killing 3 and wounding 5, is dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Campus Police Deputy Chief Chris Rosman said some 4 hours following the shooting that police in Lansing confronted the suspected gunman and he killed himself.
There is no longer a threat to campus. We believe there to only be one shooter in this incident, and there is no longer a need to shelter in place on campus.
Rosman says the gunman first opened fire in Berkey Hall, an academic building, and then the nearby student union. Police say the suspect was a 43-year-old man who was not connected to the university, and they have no idea why he carried out the shooting. I'm Donna Warder.
Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina and ambassador to the United Nations under President Trump, has announced her plans to run for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. Larry Sabato, director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia, says she'll have to explain why she is running against her former boss.
She said she wasn't going to run against Trump, and now she is. She's going to have to explain why she flip-flopped on that. And she had better get to her explanation quickly, because I don't think Donald Trump is going to hold back.
An argument led to a shooting and a police chase in South County.
I'm Stuart McMillan. Police say 2 men were arguing at the Quick Trip in Lemay and one shot the other. It happened around 10 minutes before 5 o'clock this morning. St. Louis County Police found the man who was shot inside the QT. The suspect drove off and police gave chase. He crashed in St. Louis City at Ohio and Broadway and was arrested. The gunshot victim was sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No names or charges were released.
Romance scams pop up around this holiday. Chris Thetford of the St. Louis Better Business Bureau says an online relationship could cost you.
What happens is people meet somebody online on a dating site and they begin engaging in conversation and going back and forth, and it feels natural when all of a sudden there becomes a request for some sort of money donation. They might say that they've got a family medical crisis, or they've got an education crisis, or they can't pay their rent.
The KMOX Business Desk. Inflation slows a bit, but is still with us.
I'm Tom Foti. The government's monthly inflation report shows it slowing in January, but not as much as in December. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The largest contributor to prices rising in the month of January was shelter. The government said that shelter accounted for 1/2 of the monthly increase,
which was 0.5%. Over the past year, consumer prices have risen just under 6.5%. Tom Foti, CBS News, Washington.
The Dow from Stifel's down 318 points. We've got a crash on 141 going south at Fiedler Road. The left lane is closed. They've cleared some debris that was on 70 East at 141. There's a crash on 70 East, though, at Florissant Road. Watch out there. The weather sponsored by MERS Goodwill.
It is going to be very windy this afternoon. Some rain at times, even a thunderstorm. Temperatures 55 to 60. We've got advisories out for gusts to 50 miles per hour through at least 3 a.m. Tomorrow morning is chilly overnight over into the upper 40s, and then even warmer tomorrow up to 64 to 68 with a breeze and some sunshine. With AccuWeather, epidemiologist Dean DeVore and the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Donate your vehicle today to MERS Goodwill and get 4 field box tickets to a 2023 Cardinals game. It's easy and towing is free. Donate online at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill. It's cloudy and 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day. It's Amy Marchkors and Chris Ranji on the show. It is hour 2 of what we are doing today. 314-436-7900. Hope you're having a swell Valentine's Day. Hope you're not overextending yourself later. You know, do something nice for somebody. It doesn't have to be a big deal.
Don't be elaborate, over the top, ostentatious. You know what I mean? Be real.
Yeah, just be real. Don't do it for the gram. You know, don't do it for Instagram likes.
No.
Here's what I did. Here's how we spent our Valentine's Day.
Don't cut up
Nobody
little
cares.
heart confetti and throw it out the window. And you know what? You have other things you need to do,
That's right.
like the laundry.
Do the laundry. Catch up on Last of Us. You know, something like that.
That's exactly right.
Amy,
Yes.
I love how you're such a curmudgeon about Valentine's Day.
No, I'm not a curmudgeon
Yes,
about
you are.
Valentine's Day. I think it's great. I'm a curmudgeon about this saccharine superficiality that's all about show. Do it for social media where you're just absolutely over the top. To me, that's not a sign that things are going swimmingly, that the relationship is particularly substantive.
Yeah.
I know that's, you're saying, why, Amy? You're really judgy. That's exactly right.
Yes, you're very judgy.
All right. Here's what's going on in Chicago. So we had Alderwoman of the 10th Ward, Shamim Clark Hubbard, in a few weeks ago to talk about her proposal to have a universal basic income for some of the neediest cases in St. Louis, a $500 monthly check for a year, I believe was the initial proposal, to help out families with food, mortgage, whatever their needs may be. Now, with Alderwoman Hubbard's plan, there would be, quote, no strings attached, right? That's the way you could say it, right? There's no parameters for how you could spend the money. For instance, the WIC program, Women and Infants and Children, there are certain parameters on how you can spend that money. With this, it would be a blank check going to those in need. Well, in Chicago and the surrounding suburbs of Cook County, they are implementing this exact plan. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has a $31.5 million Resilient Communities pilot, which selected 5,000 city residents. They selected them this past summer to receive a guaranteed cash income for a year. $500 checks, and there are no strings attached. There's no limits to how you can use that $500 check per month for a year. Now, there was another program that cost $42 million. That went out to 3,250 residents in nearby Chicago suburbs. So this is the largest scale UBI plan so far in the country. It sounds very similar to Shamim Clark Hubbard's plan for the $500 checks. I can look at that situation, especially coming out of the pandemic and a government mandated shutdown, a government created recession or what have you, and say, okay, we can use some tax dollars to help some of the neediest cases. I think this would be in the works even without the pandemic. I know people are saying, oh, we've talked about UBI for a long time. Okay, we have. Sure. Maybe I can listen to that argument. I struggle with the no strings attached because the idea of the $500 check is that you are helping people with basic necessities. That's the whole idea, is that, listen, people are struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet. Let's help them make ends meet. And I think I have no issue. In fact, I think we should mandate to a point what that means. It can be used on food, mortgage, housing, education, right? Basic supplies. I feel like the parameters could be very, very wide. I don't understand why there's such a strong push for zero parameters.
Because it doesn't appear to be necessary. Anytime this has been tried anywhere in the country, Washington, D.C. did a $5,500 during the pandemic. They gave out $5,500 to was about 600 families. And these were people who made under a certain amount of money. And more than half of those people used the money for rent or for mortgages. There isn't a whole lot of evidence that when you give money to people, whether it's $500 a month or $600 a month, like they did in Stockton, California, there was $500 a month they gave to, I think it was something like, it wasn't that many families. It may have been just a few hundred families in Stockton. They found that almost all of it went to services, and they didn't hover over these people and say, what are you doing with it? And prove to us that you're not spending it on alcohol and tobacco. But they did find that about 1% of all of that money would go to things like alcohol or tobacco. Almost all of it, according to the evidence from places they've tried this. They tried it in Richmond, Virginia, too. And it's overwhelming that people are using it on the things that matter. They are using it on food. They're using it on rent. It's not like it's being abused. I think there's this fear that that's what people are going to do with it, or that they're not smart enough to be able to make financial decisions, but the evidence doesn't suggest that's true.
And that's great. Good. Then why is the idea of saying, listen, we know 99% of you are going to use it exactly like it was intended? Why is the idea of curbing abuse by setting some parameters? Why does though they may be, why is it offensive then to set some parameters and help curb the abuse? Because the fact is, it's my money. It's taxpayer dollars. It's your money. It's my money. It's everyone listening. It's their money saying, yep, we need to have our taxpayer dollars going back to the community to help those in need. I think it's absolutely fair for there to be, at minimum, a very small set of limits so that you can say, these are for your necessities. Here's all the things that count as necessities: mortgage, rent, groceries, healthcare, education, school supplies, nursing supplies, whatever it is that you may need. And if 99% of people are using it for those things anyway, why is it wrong to want to curb the abuse that we can curb?
Because it seems like you're wanting to implement a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. I mean, 1%.
I don't buy that.
Well, I mean, 1% is a problem. Is that if that's where
if that's the number?
Yeah, I just don't think it's a big deal. I mean, I don't give a crap. I don't care at all, and I think it's always been a weird thing to me. Somebody who uses a SNAP card or somebody who gets assistance to store shame them, like, oh, look what they're buying. I don't care what they are buying. You give the money to people, you let them make their own decisions on how it's going to help them or how they're going to spend it. Because by and large, the vast majority of people are going to use it almost all on stuff they need, like bills or like rent. And this has been proven time and time again. There just isn't that much abuse. Not to mention the fact, I would imagine, and I don't know, and again, if somebody knows better than me on this, let me know if I'm wrong or not. But I would imagine there's a cost to being on top of what everybody spends. Like, it probably costs the program money to monitor how people are spending, because you have to have staff to do it. You have to have people that are, examining every purchase or whatever. Like, you'd have to put some sort of funds in it. It might cost more to do that than to just say, hey, here's $500, spend it however you see necessary.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid question. I don't know if that's exactly if that would be a substantive extra cost. What I do know is, if it's my money, if it's taxpayer money, I am okay. We'll agree to give it to those in need. But I think it's absolutely fair to say you can't spend it on tobacco, because tobacco, we know, causes health problems and ultimately costs taxpayers even more in health. So I don't see it as offensive or unfair in any way for taxpayer money to have some, like, even minimal limitations.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but if it's not actually a problem, I don't know if you have to babysit people. I mean, if they're not actually doing that, then, I mean, if it is a rampant issue where, I don't know, 40% is going to booze and drugs and cigarettes or whatever, then yeah, I think that's a pretty big problem. But if it is, 1% where that's really happening, I'm not sure that anything should come of it. But I do know that UBI in a lot of places, it seems to do well, and a lot of the studies suggest that there's a positive benefit of giving people a little extra money so that they can pay off rents, which are exploding, and costs of everything continue to go up, but wages don't necessarily go up for the poorer or middle class people. This isn't for middle class. This is for people who are, closer to the poverty line.
Right. And in Chicago, this newest program by Lori Lightfoot would be for 5,000 select residents. In the same way in St. Louis, it would be for a select number of city residents. What I'm interested in, what counts as success? Because both of these programs in St. Louis and Chicago, right, they've been handed out, or they've been determined to last a year. It's a lot of money, 30 million, 40 million, whatever it may be for Chicago, and then what it might cost in St. Louis. It's a lot of money. What counts as success after a year of this program? Is a year long enough to see a major difference? Is it that you see fewer calls, 911 calls, disturbances? Is it that you see crime numbers go down? Is it that you see more kids in school? Is it that you see fewer people evicted? What are they looking at that would say this program is a success other than just blindly giving $500 to people and hoping it's helping? Because there's got to be something quantifiable that the city can say, here's the data. We've given this $500 check for a year, and what we've seen is that more kids are in school, fewer people have gone to the food bank, fewer people are evicted, crime has gone down. What are we looking at?
That's exactly it. I mean, you're looking at food security. You're looking at positive impacts on the mental health of people who are not stressing to be able to pay for the necessities month to month. I think that's really what you're looking at, and that has seen a lot of good success around the country and around the world. I know they've done it in other countries too, and this is not, look, we're different. The United States is not Norway. It's not countries.
Check 1 2
in Scandinavian countries. It's not Europe. It's a different country with a different set of ideals, but it still does have a positive impact on a lot of different people. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here, and they'll measure it. And if it works, great. We'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, then they will stop the program. Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji. The Super Bowl happened on Sunday. Got some interesting numbers late yesterday in regard to viewership. And we talk about football and how many people are watching and whether or not they hate it or whatever. But some interesting numbers coming from Super Bowl viewership. We'll discuss those when we come back on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much money you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that could take a big bite out of your nest egg. Ken and Lori Heisey and their team at Heisey Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. Now may be a great time to lower your future tax liability. Create a retirement plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Ken and Lori Heisey at Heisey Advisory Group at 314-328-4400 today and schedule your visit. That's 314-328-4400. Firm cannot give tax advice. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor, and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated companies.
We had a very, very cold snap, then extremely nice 40s and 50s. Love that. But winter is just starting. This is February. I can't spell it, and I really do have a problem pronouncing it. I'm just a fixer guy. The prices are very good. Plus, I can get most people qualified for 60 months, no interest, which makes it so affordable. With that being said, if your furnace is broke or you believe it's broke, call me. It's Bart Inman. It's one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It's 293 2600. Again, very easy. Missouri and Illinois, 314 293 2600, or bartinman.com, and that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. Did I just burp?
Local news and information direct to your smart speaker. Just say, play KMOX.
Amy Mark Sports, Chris Ranji. It is the show. It is KMOX. It is good to have you with us today. What a wonderful Tuesday. And there's nothing special about today except it's Tuesday.
And it's a little gloomy.
It is a little gloomy
glum.
out there.
Some would say it's a little glum.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Did I watch it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You watched the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs won again, and they're well on their way to a dynasty, and it just makes me sick to my stomach. We're the home of the Chiefs, by the way.
I know. We had
Just-
a big Chiefs party, dancing around, very excited. Wore a Chiefs sweatshirt.
I did
And-
not.
Okay, well, that's because, speaking of glum, Bears fans are always glum.
Well, because they have the quarterback we should have, but I like our
Yeah.
guy too. Doesn't matter. It's not the point of what we're talking about here right now. And the point is, Amy,
yes,
that this was the most watched Super Bowl in 6 years.
Okay.
Right? 100, the average viewership, 113 million people watched the Super Bowl. Now, we have talked about how the NFL, primarily the NFL, but college football too, has a lot of popularity. But the NFL is the most watched television program. Any NFL game, the odds are it's one of the most watched television programs in the country at a given time.
Like-
it just always this country is mad for football.
In 2022, the 100 most watched shows in the entire year, which included the Olympics, the World Cup, the Oscars, TV shows, movies, whatever it may be, 87 of them were football.
87. That's
87.
absolute madness. And this was the most watched. And there's a lot of intrigue because of the quarterbacks. You got two young, dynamic, awesome quarterbacks.
Mhm.
You had the two brothers playing against each other, Jason and Travis Kelce. So there was intrigue as far as that goes. But there was also the Rihanna concert,
Mhm.
which happened in the middle.
Her first concert in 7 years.
Her first concert in 7 years. So 113 million average viewers for the game. For her concert,
Yeah.
Amy,
Yeah.
118.7 million.
Wow.
More people tuned in for her halftime show than for the game itself, which that's really incredible. And it was the one of the most watched Super Bowl halftime shows that we've ever seen.
Okay. What did you think? Because it was quite different in the sense that most halftime shows have major transitions where there is a wardrobe change or a cape comes off or the colors of the lights change, the scene change, the dances change, whatever it may be. There are definitely different stages to each halftime show where they transition into the next big moment. With this, it was a consistent theme. She stood there and sang. They had the marshmallow dancers in the white outfits. And she had her, red coat on. Of course, there was the reveal that she was pregnant. Apparently, the cameraman zoomed out a little too quickly and didn't really focus on the fact that she was holding her belly at one point.
Yeah.
But did you like it? Did you not like it? Overwhelmed,
I thought it was
underwhelmed?
I thought it was a good show. I don't need costume changes. That doesn't do anything for me. But she was good. She's Rihanna, right?
Do you know what stood out to me more than anything?
What's that?
And I said this yesterday. The height of the platforms
Yes, I
that
thought
were
those
going
people
up
were
and
gonna
down.
fall.
For her to
And her too.
sing, and the thing is, standing on the ground in the middle of that stadium with the lights and the crowds would be disorienting. But to be on a platform that's being raised, I don't know, a couple hundred feet, however high she was, it was really high.
50 to like 70, something like that.
It was
high.
really
Yeah.
high. I would be so disoriented, I
agree.
would pass out.
Yeah, I kept saying those dancers are going to fall. And then she goes up there too. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That
I
was
couldn't.
impressive.
Now, this may be the most fascinating number for me regarding the viewership of the Super Bowl. Kansas City had the best ratings. So the best ratings for the Super Bowl were in, as you would imagine, the two cities that participated. Kansas City was number 1. Philadelphia was number 2. Cincinnati, Detroit, Pittsburgh, all big football towns, 1 through 5. Guess who was in the top 10
I
in
know.
Super Bowl viewership?
St. Louis.
It was the 10th highest rated of all of the markets that aired the Super Bowl. So the list went like this.
Okay.
I gave you the top 5. Then it was Milwaukee, Norfolk, okay, Charlotte, Minneapolis, and St. Louis. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, so if you're ever wondering, oh, St. Louis doesn't like the NFL anymore because the Rams left, apparently the data says otherwise because people here watch it.
In your mind, because St. Louis always has strong NFL viewership ratings. But in your mind, were we top 10 because of Kansas City, or would we have been top 10 no matter who was playing?
I don't know about top 10 no matter who. Kansas City probably helps because there are a lot of Chiefs fans here. So I think that definitely helps. But St. Louis has had, even after the Rams left, there's a lot of interest in the NFL in this city. You think there isn't, but there is. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, you are listening to the show on KMOX.
Weeknights at 6, it's the Graybar Sports Open Line.
Welcome into the program. My name is Matt Pauley.
Matt gets you inside the world of sports. Cardinals, Chiefs, Pelicans, you'll get it all and much more.
Special edition of Sports Open Line. We are live at Winter Warm-Up.
Matt brings you sports insights, special guests, and player interviews.
Very happy to welcome on to the program Cardinals outfitter Tyler O'Neill.
The Graybar Sports Open Line. You don't want to miss it. Weeknights at 6 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Declare financial freedom from car payments in 3 easy steps. 1. Visit St. Charles Hyundai during our amazing Payment Freedom event. 2. Choose your favorite new ride. 3. Drive payment free until summer 2023. That's right, make no payments until summer 2023 at St. Charles Hyundai, the #1 volume Hyundai dealership since 2015 in the Metro St. Louis area. St. Charles Hyundai, located a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off I-70, online at stcharleshyundai.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires 2/28/23.
Hey, it's Annie. Are you a real estate agent wondering how the upcoming season will be? How you can be even more competitive and create new business? This is Annie Fry, and I need to talk to you about an event coming up that you will not want to miss. Sponsored by my friend Stewie of Stewart's American Mortgage. A State of the Industry event is going to take place on February 22nd at the Renaissance Hotel from 1 to 3. You're going to get to hear industry experts from all aspects of the housing industry. Seating is filling up and limited, so reserve your spot today. Google the Bagel Loan or call 314-324-4440.
At 11:30, we've got clouds and 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. Turkey's president announces 35,418 deaths in last week's earthquake, making it the country's worst disaster in a century. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says the first U.S. missile fired at an unidentified object over Lake Huron missed the target and landed harmlessly in the water, but a second one successfully hit. The pace of consumer price increases eased again in January, the latest sign that the high inflation that has gripped Americans for 2 years is slowing. At the same time, the consumer price report showed pressures in the U.S. economy remain stubborn and are likely to keep inflation high well into this year. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Along with supercore inflation, the Fed is monitoring core goods that made up of commodities without food and energy, as well as housing services. These data points, along with wage growth, help the central bank determine whether or not to raise short-term interest rates.
Wind advisories for gusts up to 50 miles an hour through 3 a.m. early tomorrow morning. And it will be windy today with periods of rain, maybe a thunderstorm in places this afternoon with the high of 55 to 60. Low tonight, 48. Tomorrow's high, 64 to 68. It's 49 degrees at the moment downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your... Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com. Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs Windborne's The Music of the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, 1969, celebrating the 50th anniversary of two iconic albums, Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed. Conductor Brent Havens, vocalist Nick Adams, and the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, February 25th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org. Courtesy of Abco Music.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 7.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Hi, it's Matt Pauley. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, covering Cardinals spring training. Stay up to date with my reports from Redbirds Camp, mornings and afternoons, and Sports Open Line weeknights from the T.R. Hughes Homes Broadcast Center.
Spring training coverage, sponsored in part by Wilkie Window and Door, on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Love stings. Love stings. Love stings.
Amy and Chris on the show. It's KMOX. It is good to have you, isn't it?
It is great. Happy
It's good to have
Valentine's
us.
Day.
So we, you, Amy, you and I, we have each other here, and I do have love for this person. He is our first guest on the show today. He is the Senior Vice President of Wealth Management at UBS Financial Services and host of Dollars and Cents here on KMOX. And I love this man. It is Dave Simons who is with us on the show. Good morning, Dave.
Chris, you're making me blush.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, it's and the love stinks. How about Def Leppard's Love Bites? That's another classic.
Oh, I loved that one when I was in 6th grade. I did. I really loved that song.
6th grade.
I did. I loved it. I was trying to, I was trying to find out how to be a ladies' man back then.
Oh,
And,
congratulations.
mission
You figured it
accomplished.
out. Yeah.
Awesome. And that song was like, okay, I gotta be this is how I'm a softie. I gotta be a softie, and this song taught me to be a softie. It didn't. Anyway, but I love whatever that one was.
Stinks.
Yeah, Love Stinks. That one too.
Yeah, that was a class. I when I got married 35 years ago, I tried to convince my wife to have as our special wedding song, REO Speedwagon's Time for Me to Fly.
Yes.
She didn't like that.
We already played that one.
That is awesome.
We have a theme today, Dave. It's Valentine's Day music.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm all on it.
Everybody else is doing the sappy stuff. We're not.
I will say this. My brother recently got married, and my suggestion for his lovely bride, Sarah, as she walked down the aisle, I said she should walk down the aisle to More Than a Woman. More than a woman. And walk down the aisle to that. They didn't go for it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I think it would have been a great song.
Wow.
People would have remembered.
Well, guys, I have to do the same again on March 11th. My oldest, my daughter, is getting married, and I'm already like tearing up thinking about walking her down the aisle in a month.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow. Yeah, congratulations to you. Don't let her play
Thank
that
you.
song. That's stupid. Don't Amy's idea. That's stupid.
No, that won't happen.
Dave, yeah, see, Dave's got some sense here. That's why it's called dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Dave, the interest rate hikes continue. Are we done now, or is there a possibility we could see more?
Well, I'll just give you the consensus estimate, which is the Fed is not done, but very close. I think the expectation is maybe in March, another 0.25%, and then they'll pause. But I'll tell you guys, some of the data that we're getting here lately shows that the Fed still has an inflation problem. And that happened again this morning when the latest inflation number came out today, and it was a little hotter than expected. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of Fridays ago, we had that huge blowout jobs number way above estimates. So I think the market right now is being a little too complacent. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but it wouldn't surprise me that the Fed may have more than one more rate hike. I think they're going to be a little bit more draconian here.
Is there a chance that inflation is slowly going to start rising again? As we mentioned earlier, the annualized rate of 6.4% for January, that was reported recently by the Department of Labor. It's just only slightly lower than 6.5% rate that was in December. And so prices rose by 0.5% in January. So even though the number was going down, it's almost stagnating. And is there a possibility that inflation could bounce back up again?
There is that fear. That's exactly right. In fact, as China has reopened its economy, there's a fear that because they're such a huge economy with, billions of people, that we could get some global inflation coming back in that will have its tentacles here in the U.S. Now, I think that's overplayed a little bit. I think what you're going to see here is that inflation is still going to slowly tick down, but not nearly as fast as the Fed's liking. And as you just mentioned, the decrease that we just had, very incremental, 0.1%. Well, it was really dropping a lot more than that from September through the rest of the year. Last year in the fourth quarter, it really fell from upper 7, low 8, all the way down to 6.5, and now it's stagnated, and that has surprised the market. I think, like I said, I think it's still coming down, but not nearly as fast as the Fed likes, and that's why I don't think they're done.
So is there, other than these interest rate hikes, which are not decided upon by the administration, is there something that the Biden administration is not doing that it should be doing? Or are we talking about something that, as a worldwide problem, there's not a whole lot more that could be done here?
Man, you just hit on something really, really important, because I think some of the biggest problems that have ever occurred in the economy is when the government, through good intentions, feels like that they can come in and fix something that is much more powerful than any governmental body. And a lot of times, whether good or bad, you have to let these huge global economic cycles play themselves out. Now, yeah, there are things on the margins that you can do. And one of the big issues has been oil prices, and they did what they could do by opening up some of the reserves and trying to coerce oil companies to pump more. Okay, that's a whole other different issue, but they can do things like that. But be careful about coming in and trying to create all these programs from a political standpoint to buy votes, because a lot of times they can do more harm than good. Inflation will come down. It is coming down, and it will do so on its own But we as Americans are just going to have to be patient because I think it's going to be a little more stubborn than we'd like.
So when you hear people, and you've heard this over and over and over again, call it Bidenflation or say Biden's disastrous policies, you hear that phrase a lot. What you're saying is this is a lot bigger than that, and that it's not about these disastrous policies. It's more about politics.
Oh, do you want to go there?
Yeah, go ahead. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But that's what it
you
sounds
are,
like.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong at all, Chris, because look, I'm on the conservative side of things. I have no problems admitting that, but I'm also, I would consider very moderate. And there are things on my side of the fence that make me cringe. I'm like, why would you say that? Why are you doing that? Same on the other side. And what happens is no matter who's in power, it could be the other way around. A Republican could be in the White House right now. And the Democrats could say, see, we got this inflation because of you. And I would have to say, no, that's not true. Yeah, it's only because that's your party you're saying that. Well, it's the other way around. You got fellow conservatives who might look at me and say, what? Of course, this is Biden's inflation. I would say, well, you could argue that from some points, yes, about energy and trying to cut back oil because they're the bogeyman. I get that. But it's bigger than that. And this is all an after effect of the pandemic and the lockdown. So if you want to get into politics, you can start there. And if you want to make hay against Democrats, you could say, well, they're the ones who are being too restrictive in the economy, and that caused inflation. Okay, but Biden wasn't president back then. And it's what has he done lately? So it's really, Chris, you're exactly right. It's typically so much bigger than any one person in the White House. They have less control, less blame, and less credit than we should give them.
Yeah, Dave, I heard one conservative commentator say Republicans should thank their lucky stars that they weren't in charge the past couple of years because this was going to happen. And you're going to point the finger at the White House or whoever's in charge of Congress. And it happened to be a Democratic president, Democratic Congress. But if you're a Republican, they said, thank your lucky stars because you can spin it politically, but it was bigger than that.
100%. And that gets to the jobs market, too. When Democrats will say, do you see how many people lost their jobs under Donald Trump? I'm like, wait a minute. There was job growth until the economy shut down. That's where your job losses came from. And then on the other side, Democrats will say, look at all the jobs that have been created because of Joe Biden. No, that would have happened under a Republican because that's when the economy finally started to open back up and people have been getting work. So you guys are exactly right. The politics on this really drives me crazy. There can be some truth to it, but most of the time it's all garbage.
Dave, I'm pro-business and I love the free market and companies are incentivized by profit. I get all of that. But as we see prices go up across the board, in the energy sector, gas prices, grocery prices, rent, I also understand that, companies want to make money. I'm paying more, but I'm seeing record profits in some of these areas. How much of the inflation is either made worse or at the very least not helped by companies who are milking their ability to raise prices more than they need to be raised?
Yeah, you could. I think a lot of the arrows specifically to that question, Amy, are really pointed at the oil industry as much as anything else. But there's so much complexity here. I don't think that there is any legitimate charge that any particular industry or company at this moment is gouging the consumer, because it's deeper than that. It's more complex. It starts from the little manufacturer in another part of the world who's got input costs that have been going up because agriculture prices are up, and then they have to pass that on, and that gets passed on, and so on and so forth. And when you look at the oil industry, again, it's so pandemic related. And it is, and this is where it does get political, is a lot of the big energy companies were told by a certain party that, you are the bad guys and you need to stop producing. And now they're being told to open it back up again. And that does create inflation. It is a supply and demand issue. So I don't see any evidence that anyone's taking advantage of anyone, especially when you figure out that oil companies, nobody feels sorry for them when they lose money. And they were before the pandemic, or actually the early days of the pandemic, losing money. And by the way, one more thing on this, any shareholder in an oil stock for the last 20, 25 years will tell you they practically made no money for a couple of decades. It's only when they start making money because of economic conditions beyond their control that people start to think they're greedy. And it's more just the reaction to economic, the equilibrium is off economically.
Last thing, Dave, before we let you go, it is tax season now, and so that means people are getting their stuff ready to go. Not me, though, because it's only February. I like to wait until early April, if not mid-April. So as people do that now, or is there anything different about 2023? Any tips that maybe people should be aware of as they get their stuff ready?
No, I've heard that there is a little bit of a delay maybe in getting some refunds. I'm not fully cognizant of why that might be, but that's the only thing. Some of the bigger changes, frankly, Chris, are occurring here in 2023 with standard deduction increases and Social Security increases. So that's more of a question for next year, but I don't think there's anything of note for people doing their 22 taxes.
All right, Dave Simons, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you for being with us. And again, do not let your daughter use Amy's song down the line because it's
It's a
horrible.
great song,
It's
though.
bad idea.
Noted. Duly noted.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, take care, guys.
Dave Simons, Senior Vice President of Wealth Management at UBS Financial Services, host of Dollars and Cents here on KMOX. Speaking of romance, Amy wants to tell you about a scam you need to be aware of because it happened to her and it can happen to you
It didn't
on
happen to me.
KMOX.
Well, if you're a business owner and you've managed to make it through the past couple of years, the bumpy ride that it's been, and you have 5 or more employees, well, listen up because you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. I know you've heard me talk about getrefunds.com, and I'll keep talking about them because it is tax season. We all could use a little bit of help. I know that all the tax forms, all the documents, knowing if you're qualified or not, that can be intimidating. It can be time consuming. Well, go to getrefunds.com because they can do all the work for you. They can cut through the red tape. They can let you know if your business is eligible for this refund money. The team of tax attorneys that they've put together are highly trained in this little known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. As I mentioned, they do all the work, and businesses of all types can qualify, even if you already took PPP or if you saw an increase in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with Autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Many great wines now come in boxes, which produce half the overall emissions that bottles do. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The real estate market continues making headlines for both buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers like you is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price, right? This is Debbie Monterey. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states that Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria is able to make this bold offer because Gloria already has the buyers in her exclusive Buyers in Waiting program. So before you list your home, do your research and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller because she knows that every situation is different. Call her today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Old Town Donuts has chocolate-covered strawberries and a variety of Valentine's Day donuts in February until the 14th in Florissant and Cottleville. A dozen donuts under $10 with a coupon from OldTownDonuts.com.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
More Amy, more Chris. What is this weird show? The Show on KMOX.
To remind you of the mess you left when you went away. It's not fair to deny me of the cross-eyed man that you gave to me. You ought to know.
That's Amy in her room when she was 13 years old.
Did you sing the cross-eyed bear that you gave to me?
Yes. The cross-eyed bear.
Yeah, why'd you give her a cross-eyed bear?
The cross-eyed bear, which, by the way,
Yeah.
not nearly as intimidating as the cocaine bear.
Well, the cocaine bear was very intimidating because bears are intimidating anyway. And the one way to make a bear more intimidating is for that bear to be on cocaine.
So tell us about the time you got defrauded.
I didn't get defrauded.
Okay.
Ron
So what
Shear.
happened?
Listen.
Yeah.
He seemed very nice. No, I didn't get defrauded, but 73,000 Americans did. Here's the good news. That's a 10% decline from last year.
Oh, so it used to be worse?
Well,
Tell me about this
the
scam.
number of Americans used to be worse. However, I guess these fraudsters are charging more because the amount of money that Americans lost through romance scams hit the 10-figure mark for the first time in history. So more money was lost by Americans in romance scams last year than any other previous year. Over $1 billion to love-struck victims.
So these are people who are participating in an online relationship. They meet somebody online. You meet them with one of the apps or in a chat room or something like that. You begin a relationship with them, back and forth. You get to know each other. And then suddenly there's a financial request.
Yeah. So, like, let's say you meet someone on a dating site and that person then asks, hey, can we move off this dating site? Can we use a different platform or whatever it may be? Because I'm abroad for work or I'm in the military and I need to, this app, I'm not allowed to have this app anymore. It's usually once they meet someone on a legitimate platform, they want to move off that platform. You fall in love very quickly. They find excuses not to meet in person, but then they do ask for money or gift cards because they just need something, and people fall for it and they send those scammers money.
This is a thing that you need to know because there are, and this is very, very important, and you hear about these scams all the time. And the first reaction from a reasonable person is, how could you fall for that?
Right.
How could you be taken by a person who clearly is just trying to take money from you? But it happens. And sometimes it happens to people who are very reasonable and intelligent, but they get emotionally attached to somebody. It is possible to become emotionally attached to somebody you've never met and you've never even seen.
Oh, absolutely. And if you've ever gotten a spammy text or email, right? Sometimes with an explicit photo, you're like, oh, this is spam. And you're wondering, why do they keep sending these out? Because some people fall for them. Even if a small percentage falls for that text with the explicit photo and then sends money, well, they're going to keep sending those texts and emails out. And not only that, but a lot of victims don't report the scams because
They're embarrassed.
They're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because it's super embarrassing.
So one of the things you need to know is this, and this was just on our station last week. There was an interview with an expert, and I can't recall the expert now, who said, and I knew of this just because, I don't know, in my YouTube algorithm, for whatever reason, there used to be these, and maybe I just watched one video one time about a scammer, and there are these people who are really good with computers and hacking themselves, and they will scam the scam centers. You know, like these call centers that it's their business model. They're overseas, and they will call somebody here, and they will scam them out of a bunch of money. Well, these guys, some of these people who are YouTube stars, will do that to them and somehow get into their systems and freak these people out. So what they will do, the scammers a lot of times, and sometimes this even happens with people posing to be with the IRS, where they will reach out to you, whether it's via email or via text, and they'll say, this is the IRS. You need to pay this back tax, and if you don't do it, we're going to call the police today. And the police are going to come to your house today. Well, you start to freak out because it might look like it's from an official email address or an official phone number, but it's not. It's absolutely a scam. What they'll do is they'll ask you for gift cards. So if you are ever, first of all, the IRS does not reach out to you that way. They will send you a letter, a physical letter in the mail. They hardly ever call you. So if you get a phone call and they say you owe tax money, get us $500 in Best Buy gift cards and we'll call it even. The IRS is not asking you for gift cards. And they do not give you a deadline of today. They will work things through with you. So don't fall for the scams. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. Lunch is coming up here on the show.
For the first time, Diamonds Direct is offering an extra 25% off all of their Diamond Classics collection. 25% off diamond stud earrings, 25% off diamond tennis bracelets, and 25% off diamond pendants and more. It's true. This Valentine's Day, Diamonds Direct lets you take a full 25% off all these must-have jewelry box staples. Diamond Classics are like a little black dress. It's jewelry that never goes out of style and something you can wear every day, whether it's just running errands or going out on the town. A nice pair of diamond stud earrings goes with anything and everything. And now through Valentine's Day, you can take an extra 25% off. It's our best value ever offered on these popular gifts. Don't miss this sparkling new Valentine's event. Visit DiamondsDirect.com to view the Diamond Classics collection. Learn about designer trunk shows offering an expanded selection and apply for zero-interest financing options up to 3 full years. Celebrate your love and save like never before at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
They say good things come to those who wait, unless you bite into a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Waiting to see a financial advisor about retirement could also bring some pain. The pain of watching your money evaporate in a stock market decline. The pain of trying to figure out Social Security and Medicare on your own. Or the pain of writing huge checks to the IRS that you really didn't have to. At the All Financial Group, they believe the more you know, the better decisions they can make. They offer a complimentary retirement assessment. Find out where you are, how you're doing, and if there's a way to improve your retirement outcome. Don't wait. Call the All Financial Group today, 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com and set up your complimentary retirement review.
Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, KMOX listeners, Roger Wigginton here. Don Rogers Limited, 6727 West Main in Belleville. I'm going to do a little departure from my regular commercials. I'm inviting you to come to the store and visit our newest employee, the newest addition to the Don Rogers team, Valerie. She's going to be assisting with the day-to-day operations, with the buying, and through the whole month of February. If you come over and introduce yourself, say, hey, I want to meet Valerie and want to say hi, we're going to give you 10% off your entire purchase. Now, that's on new spring merchandise and even on sale merchandise. We still have quite a bit of Warner merchandise at 50% off. You'll get another 10% off of that to 75% off things from last summer, 10% off of that. But come over, meet Valerie. Don't forget, we're open Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 4. Park at the door, walk in, get waited on. She'd love to meet you, and I want you to meet her. And don't forget, I thank you so very much for listening to our commercial.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's a cloudy sky, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, the Cardinals president of baseball operations is reelected.
Under John Mozeliak's leadership, the Cardinals have had 15 winning seasons. In a news conference this morning, the club announces an extension for the president of baseball operations. The 15 consecutive winning seasons matches a club record, and Mozeliak cites the importance of this happening in St. Louis.
It's also a privilege to work in the city of St. Louis. You think about a fan base that truly cares about the type of product you put on the field. When you look at our market size relative to other cities in baseball, yet we still draw over 3 million. And I'd like to think that's not by accident, but I also understand that we're grateful for that support.
Mozeliak is now under contract through the 2025 season. In Jupiter, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Investigators are still trying to figure out what drove a 43-year-old man to go on the campus of Michigan State University and shoot several students. CBS News correspondent Roxana Sabiri is there and has more about what we're learning on the victims.
3 people were killed that they have announced so far. 5 others were sent to the hospital, 4 of whom required surgery. Those 5 are still in critical condition. All of them are students. We heard from a doctor whose team treated those students, and he actually pretty much broke down in tears as he talked about the injuries to these students.
The man who attacked the campus has no ties to the university. When authorities found his body after he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, he had a note in his pocket threatening schools. In Ewing Township, New Jersey, where he did have ties, schools closed for Tuesday, but the school's superintendent says they have determined there is no threat. 5 years ago today, 14 students and 3 staffers were killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
In Broward County, Florida, a moment of silence. In Miramar, Florida, elementary school students, teachers, and first responders create a giant heart on a field. Parkland survivor David Hogg, who helped build a national movement for tougher gun laws, says people need to put their politics aside and get something done.
Because ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. We all have people that we care about, and none of us want gun violence to continue.
Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The first U.S. missile fired at an unidentified aerial object over Lake Huron in recent days missed the target before a second one successfully hit it, says Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley.
The missile landed harmlessly in the water of Lake Huron. We tracked it all the way down, and we made sure that the airspace was clear of any commercial or civilian or recreational traffic.
The White House said today it's been difficult to recover debris from the downed objects, which could be merely research vessels. The KMOX business desk, many would argue that period products and diapers are not luxuries but necessities. But Lisa Weiss with Missouri Appleseed says they are taxed like luxuries.
Over 20 states do not tax diapers, and over 28 states don't tax feminine hygiene products.
Currently, both houses of the Missouri legislature may get to vote on repealing the sales tax on those products. As many as 2/3 of low-income women in St. Louis City reported they couldn't afford tampons or pads at least once. The Dow from Stifel is down 131 points to 34,114. And we've got a stalled vehicle 70 east at Cave Springs Truman. The right lane is closed. A stalled 44 east at Park Avenue. The right lane blocked. And a stalled 6440 west at Big Bend. The left lane is closed. Weather sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
It's not a lot of rain, but expect periods of rain as we go through this Tuesday afternoon. The big deal, strong gusty winds from the south. Some of the gusts pushing 45, 50 miles per hour. A little extra care on the roadways. 55 for the high. Tonight, slow clearing, still windy all night long. 45 Wednesday, lots of sunshine, big time warmth on Wednesday afternoon with a high of 69. 80 is the record, so not even close to that. Next rain event, more in the way of rain. Wednesday night, late Wednesday night and into Thursday morning as colder air starts to rush in, but not cold enough. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy and 50 in Florissant, 51 in St. Peters, and 50 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers and important decisions should not be based solely on advertising.
Amy Mark Scores and Chris Ranji on the show. It's lunchtime and it's a Tuesday. It's Valentine's Day, and Amy and I have been with you for the last couple of hours talking about a number of things. We started the show off with the Michigan State University shooting, which happened late yesterday. At this point, 3 students have been killed. They were all students. We did not know they were all students until today. There was still some question as to whether or not there was a teacher or somebody on the staff, but it was 3 students who were killed. 2 of them killed in one building, 1 of them killed in an adjacent building. There are 5 others that are critically wounded and are still in the hospital and hoping that they recover. 43-year-old Anthony McKay, or Mackey, I believe it's McKay is how you pronounce it. McRae,
Yeah.
excuse me. He is the shooter. They still do not have a motive. They don't know why he did it. They don't know if he has any ties to the university, but at this point, it does not seem like it. And this now makes 67 mass shootings in the United States in 2023.
And he did kill himself
He did kill
after the
himself.
shooting. And he had some signed social media posts that pointed to mental health issues as well in the past couple of years. He made threats to a school in New Jersey, which they have taken out of an abundance of caution. You know, they had taken precaution, but he obviously is now dead. And in 2019, he was arrested for unlawful possession of a weapon, but they're still looking into motivations. And again, I think our conversation needs to continue regarding gun culture in the United States, dealing with the reality of the situation that we have in our country, whether it's violence, criminal activity, those with mental health issues who are seeking access to guns, who should not have that access. If we just are able to take steps forward in not taking away everybody's guns, but making it so that the access is not so simple that anybody at any time who wants to get access to a gun can get one without any documentation, without any training, without a permit, without registering their gun. We don't do that for Sudafed.
Right.
We don't do that for Sudafed. I think what we can do is take some common sense gun laws. It's not a slippery slope. We already have some restrictions on guns, taking into account the current situation in our culture and the troubles that we have. We absolutely can have bipartisan agreement, if we're all being honest with ourselves, regarding some gun restrictions and red flag laws.
And we've had multiple texters who are opposed to gun restrictions of any kind. And one of them says, how would any additional measures prevented this one? Well, I don't know that they would. You don't know that they would prevent any, but they're going to prevent some. And isn't that good enough?
We already
Isn't
have
it
seen
good enough to make sure one school doesn't get shot up? You're going to tell those parents that that's not worth it?
We've already seen red flag laws go into effect in Florida, a very red state. And those red flag laws have prevented potential violence, whether it's a school shooting or a domestic situation. And I don't know how you can use the argument that it won't stop all, how you would use that against stopping some. That's not practical.
Yeah. Do not let perfect be the enemy of good. And that's exactly the problem. This, by the way, happening almost 5 years to the day from the Parkland shooting. 17 people were killed in that. 17 others were injured. That happened on Valentine's Day 5 years ago. So I don't know. It happens all the time. It happens way too much than it should. We did not get to this earlier, but there is, for people who just don't want there to be a Biden versus Trump 2024 standoff for president of the United States, you have another option potentially in Nikki Haley.
Right, Nikki Haley.
You should know this about me.
I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
So Nikki Haley is going to run on the Republican ticket, or she's going to run in the primaries, and wants to beat Donald Trump, and not explicitly calling him a bully, but she's talking about him being a bully.
Well, and Nikki Haley, interesting. I mean, has 2 years ago, she said that if Donald Trump ran for president again, she would not also run, but she's changed her mind. And she's pointed to her youth. She is 51 years old compared to Trump, who is 76. And pointed her to it like, we need a new generation of leaders, and she's going to run, and that's all fine. Maybe Nikki Haley has a chance. I don't know that she does, because what's her brand? I don't think people know who she is. She had a good reputation pre-Trump as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. She was the South Carolina governor, and then I think established a good reputation among conservatives, and then became very Trumpy as Trump himself became more and more Trumpy, and the MAGA crowd grew. Now she's separating herself from Trump, but not really, not saying that he was wrong, just saying that maybe she's younger. I don't know that she has a brand. What does she stand for?
I think all this will accomplish is probably getting her name out there a little bit more over the next several months, because the reality is this: unless something dramatic happens, it's Trump or DeSantis.
Yeah.
Who else realistically is going to? I know Mike Pompeo might run for president, but come on. I mean, it's not going to be him.
Run. Yeah.
Pence isn't going to win.
Now, granted, if she did win, or if she, were to become the president, she'd be running as the first female president. She would be running as the first Indian president. She's the daughter of Indian immigrants. She does talk about that in the past, saying that she did endure racist taunts. She said in her recent 3.5-minute video that she was, quote, not black, not white, I was different. So she did, face discrimination, and has risen to have a really great political career. I'm not sure how far this goes.
Yeah.
I don't know that she can separate herself enough and please enough voters, the MAGA crowd and the anti-MAGA crowd on the conservative side. I don't know.
Seems like a very small needle to thread, and I don't know how she's going to be able to do that. We also spent some time discussing the Chicago initiative, much like the one that's happening in St. Louis, of the $500 that is given to poorer families. And it's just $500 a month, and it's, here you go. This is to help with additional expenses. And this is something that has been tried around the country in various forms, all slightly different. And that city is one that's going to do it. And again, it's no strings attached money, which you object to that idea. I don't necessarily object to it so much, though.
I do. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the universal basic income in general, although I understand the pandemic changed things, changed the equation. A lot of the shutdowns, much of the recession was necessitated, or at least catalyzed by the government as we shut things down for the pandemic. I understand that. These UBI programs are about a year long right now as they initiate this experiment. I have no problem, though, with having limitations on how that money can be spent. I'm uncomfortable with the idea of a blank check. It's taxpayer money. It's my money. And if we're giving it to people who need it, okay, I will listen to that argument. But rent, mortgage, healthcare bills, medical bills, food, education, school supplies, personal supplies, those things, absolutely. You're trying to make ends meet. I don't think it's offensive in any way. In fact, I think it's responsible to put limitations on how that money can be spent.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, it seems like a solution to a problem that isn't there, because when this has been tried in various forms in cities around the country, they are seeing that it's almost all of the money is going to stuff like rent and to food, and what it's providing is more food security for those people, and therefore it's benefiting mental health too, because you don't have the stress of wondering how you're going to pay rent this month, or how you're going to buy this medicine this month or how you're going to pay for dinner on a given night. So I'm not really sure that problem exists, but when it gets tried, we'll go back and assess it and see if it works. Also, another bit of news that we have not talked about, though you've heard the news department here, the newsroom, talking about it, that John Mozeliak has a contract extension and will be the president of baseball operations for the Cardinals for the time being through now and through 2025.
I do think it's an exciting time. Bill touched on it. We have a very strong major league club. We have a really strong minor league system. You combine that with an outstanding scouting staff, it usually leads to a pretty successful model. So super excited about the next few years. I know there's going to be some change coming over the next few years. We certainly want to give individuals at the company and within the organization opportunities to grow.
So there it is. That is John Mozeliak, who will remain the president of baseball ops through the next, this year, next year, and the year after that. So, and the Cardinals there's been a lot of regular season success for sure. They have made the postseason more than they have not. Not a lot of teams can say that. The only criticisms I have seen are that there could be more playoff wins, which I think all of us here want. But within the situation he's in, I think John Mozeliak has done pretty well.
I agree. I agree. Haven't had a losing season, and we have pretty high standards here in St. Louis, as we should. But I feel like even growing up, every season that the Cardinals don't win the World Series, you're like, oh, that was a disappointment. Because you expect them to win. I think that's our mentality.
For me, I don't expect them to win a World Series every year. I want them to.
But it's that's how you feel, is that it's a possibility every year.
I don't know if lately, I don't think it's felt that way. I think it's felt like, okay, if they get there, maybe a lot of things can break their way. They've been good enough, definitely, to win the division. They've been good enough to get to the postseason. But there have been times where I feel like, they're going to get there, but I don't know how far this is going to go. And I think that's the goal, ultimately, is get to a place where you feel like, at minimum, when they get there, they're going to make a little bit of noise. So John Mozeliak will be with the team through 2025.
And also, it is Valentine's Day.
It is.
And I have a movie recommendation.
Tell me.
Who is Clark Rockefeller? I think it's a Lifetime movie from 2010 with Eric McCormick. But it's the true story of this scam artist, Christian Karl Gerhausstreiter, who's I think he just got released from prison a year or two ago. But he was a true sociopath, master imposter. He posed as he murdered a couple people and buried him in the front yard, and then posed as various characters, including a member of the famous Rockefeller family. And he scammed this super successful, smart, wealthy lawyer into basically falling in love with him and giving him all of her stuff. It's crazy. And we were just talking about romance scams, and this is a great Valentine's Day movie.
Is it?
It is.
We might have differing opinions on what great means.
It's a great movie. It's a true story.
Is it a great movie?
And the guy just got released from prison.
Okay.
He's a true sociopath. How can you convince
When was this movie made?
2010, a successful lawyer that you're a member of the Rockefellers? You have nothing, and you convince this person that, and you get everything from her.
Wait, who's in this movie? Dylan McDermott?
No, Eric McCormick.
Oh. I thought you said Dylan. Do you ever see was it a game? I think it was a games show on SNL. They had a thing called Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulrooney. Anyway,
it's a lot of
everybody
Dermots.
gets them confused.
Well,
so it's Eric McCormick from Will and Grace.
Yes, and the reason why I bring it up too is it's a long story, but I would every year since we saw this movie, I would make my mom a Valentine's Day card randomly throughout the year from Clark Rockefeller.
Oh, okay. You have a weird family. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, you are listening to the show. Hey, is it okay to date your coworkers?
Oh,
is that okay?
We need people to call and text in.
314-436-7900. More on that when we come back on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month, honoring Black icons.
Halle Berry is an actress who began her career as a model, winning several competitive titles, including first runner-up to Miss USA in 1986. Her most impressive award came in 2001 when she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Monsters Ball, remaining the only Black actress to win this award.
KMOX celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KMOX.com.
Wait and see. Sometimes that can be a good approach, but it isn't always a good strategy when it comes to your retirement. The decisions you make today regarding your savings and investments can have a huge impact on your retirement. Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at Heisey Advisory Group know how hard it can be to watch your accounts go up and down. They've seen the market at its highs and lows and everywhere in between. So if you want to talk to an experienced advisor to help make the most out of these turbulent times, call 314-328-4400 now. That's 314-328-4400. Don't wait any longer. Call Ken and Lori Heisey at Heisey Advisory Group to see what's possible with your retirement plan. 314-328-4400.
Investment advisory products and services made available through AU Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor, and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AWM and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated companies.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadiums, city and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
So I have a new client to tell you guys about, Doctors Birdie and Malhotra from Ophthalmology Associates. You've heard about them for years. Charlie Brennan, Tom Ackerman, Trish Gazelle, so many personalities have gone to see these doctors. I recently went myself. I have a very slight prescription, but I have something called narrow angle glaucoma in my family, so I have to be really careful about that. I had the best exam I've ever had from the most courteous professional people I've ever dealt with. Put aside all the puffery, put aside all of my salesmanship. These are the best eye doctors in town. They're so professional, so competent. Their staff are so friendly. Everything about them, whether it's a LASIK procedure or it's simply eyeglasses or sunglasses, whatever it is, these are the guys. 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com for Doctors Birdie and Malhotra at Ophthalmology Associates.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you, don't you?
Happy Valentine's Day to all y'all. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on the show. If I know one thing, it's that it's a bad idea to date a coworker. Can't do
Well,
it. Don't do it ever for any reason whatsoever.
a lot of people disagree with you.
Oh.
A third of millennial and Gen Z employees are open to dating a coworker. Compare that with only 23% of baby boomers. So pretty interesting that younger generations are more open to dating a coworker. And even early in the pandemic years, there was a noticeable increase in workplace romances. And you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, wasn't everybody working from home? And a lot of people were, but that could make it easier because you could have conversations through Zoom or on phone during the workday without being noticed by your other coworkers. So workplace romances actually increased during the pandemic. However, 40% of workers said they think workplace romances are unprofessional. And 18% of workers who have been in an office romance said it negatively affected their career. But that's only 18%.
So 1 out of every 5, I don't know, this seems like kind of a high number. If 1 out of every 5 people say they were negatively affected by it. So
That means 4 out of 5 people were fine with their office fling.
yeah, but you got that one person that's really bringing down the team, you know?
I know. What's your point? Are you saying it works out more than you think it would, or it doesn't work
No,
out?
the 1 out of 5, the 18% say it ruined their work.
That seems low. I would have thought.
You think that's low?
I would have thought 75%. I would have said 3 out of 4 people thought this did not work. This was a bad idea.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of inter-office relationships, and I think I've been involved in 1 or 2. And they're
Shocking.
Yeah, like nothing. It's fine. But you know why it's okay for me?
Why?
Because I'm an adult. I'm an adult, Amy. And if a relationship ends, I don't make a big deal about it. I don't cry about it to the coworkers. I don't stop
But what if
working with that person just because we broke up. I'm a professional.
I've never dated a coworker and it sounds awful. Like you break up, somebody's going to be emotional about it, you would assume, and then you got to work together every day. I played ice hockey, and on one of my teams, we had a very successful top line, and 2 of my line mates were dating.
Okay.
It was one of the best lines in the country.
And then they broke up.
And it ruined the line. And our coach had to implement a new rule, which was you can't date each other.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
Don't date your teammates.
There you go. Won't pass the puck. I'm not going to pass the puck to that one.
That's right.
I'm mad.
They wouldn't pass.
I get it. So this texter says from a 314, yes, on coworkers. It's okay to do so.
Wow.
I dated a subordinate that I managed for years.
No.
Discreetly. We've been married for 14 years.
See, that's
Does
a
she
whole other
Are
conversation.
you still her boss? That would be something. Do you think?
I don't think you should. I think you need to be like peers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Somebody needs to look into this. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on the show.
Things in a different way, and God knows it ain't his. It sure ain't no surprise.
I consider myself sort of a student of life.
What's on Dave Glover's mind?
I've noticed recently that we are going through a reset spiritually. But if that's going to go away in large measures, it's going to be replaced with something. Even if it's just, I am God, I am Dave, I am this, I can do it all. Like we're going through weird times, and the people who either never had religion or have given it up are looking to replace it with something. And I just think that's fascinating.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Station KMOX, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing a broad outreach for job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help from local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our stations. Community organizations that wish to receive our job vacancy information can reach out to Frankie Fan at 206-577-2432. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job vacancies of all Odyssey radio stations.
At 12:30, it's cloudy and 51 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Senate received a classified briefing today regarding the series of aerial objects downed by the military in recent days. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton urged President Biden to follow the precedent of previous administrations and address the nation.
Ronald Reagan explained what had happened when Soviet Russia shot down a Korean Airlines flight in 1983. Like George Bush spoke to the American people after Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait in 1990. President Biden needs to explain to the American people why he has been doing what he's been doing.
Gunmen stormed a Syrian hospital that is caring for a baby girl who was born under the rubble of her family's earthquake-shattered home. The facility's director had suspected a nurse who was taking pictures of Aya was planning to kidnap her and kicked him out of the hospital. The nurse returned hours later, accompanied by gunmen who beat up the director. Retired Missouri Senator Roy Blunt will take over as president of the State Historical Society of Missouri for a 3-year term. Blunt was elected to the position and begins his term as the Historical Society celebrates its 125th anniversary. They've got a stalled vehicle, I-170 south at Ladue, right shoulder. Stall 70 east to Cave Springs Truman on the right shoulder. And the forecast from Dave Murray, periods of rain, especially in the afternoon today. Some gusty, strong winds with a high of 55 degrees. Overnight, 45. For tomorrow, the high 69. At the moment, it's 51 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Today is officially day 2 of Cardinal spring training, with 2 more report dates coming over the next week, including all pitchers and catchers who have not already reported needing to be in camp by tomorrow. Today's big news is the announcement of a contract extension for President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak. It's a 2-year extension, giving him 3 more seasons running the club's baseball operation. In a news conference, he mentioned staying on to finish projects like the spring training facility transformation that will begin following camp, while also making sure the club is set to move forward once he is done.
You know, one of the things that did definitely come to the forefront is some incomplete projects, if you will. And so, you know, this being one of them, you know, was a part of this back in 98, but now we're going to have an opportunity to see this get expanded and rebuilt. So there are some projects within that I just think would be helpful to still have me around for. And, you know, ultimately, some of the things I do day to day, we're going to try to give other people some exposure to that over time. But, you know, short term, you'll still get me for a little bit. But as we get deeper into this contract, there will be some changes.
Mozeliak has overseen 15 winning seasons and is the second longest tenured baseball operations head in MLB. From the TR Hughes Homes Broadcast Center in Jupiter, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
This Cardinal Spring Training Report is sponsored by Norm's Bargain Barn and Wilkie Window and Door. Broadcasting from the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
I'm Dakota Hudson. I'm Jordan Hicks.
I'm Cardinals pitcher Jock Flaherty.
I'm Tommy Edman. I'm Cardinals outfielder Jordan Walker. I'm Paul DeYoung. I'm Woodson Contreras.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX. Good afternoon to all of you. We go back to the guest line today, and with Missouri lawmakers wanting to remove a 1% grocery tax here in the state. Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman from District 22 joins us today on KMOX to discuss that proposal. Thank you, Senator, for being with us. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to you. We just spent 3 hours crapping on Valentine's Day. But yes.
Well, it's my mom's birthday.
Oh.
And so today's my mom's birthday. So I have always loved Valentine's Day because it feels like familial love.
That's
and like,
different. That's totally
it just
different.
makes me warm and fuzzy and happy.
There you go. That's Mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Yes, we're big fans of mom's birthdays.
Yes, I
in
love
general.
it.
Yes.
I love Mom's birthdays.
Okay, maybe I should have tuned in instead of working here in Jeff City, and I would have been able to read the room a little better. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
No, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Have you not been? Okay. So this 1% grocery tax, I know that we're always trying to find ways to provide a little bit of relief to people.
Yeah.
In real world practice, how does this look?
Yeah, so right now the state has a 1% tax on grocery items and then another 0.225 tax that is on everything in the state, no matter what it's sold. And we're one of only 8 states that still tax grocery items. They're a necessity. It's something that we know that poor people are spending a disproportionately high portion of their budget on. Gosh, anybody who's tried to buy eggs or milk or bread has seen that prices just keep going up and up and up. And this seems to me, when we have record revenue in the state, one of the most obvious places to start. Now, listen, give me any other tax cut and I'm in favor of it, but we don't want to be building a system on the backs of the people who can least afford to pay for it, for the things that they absolutely have to have, right? And so I find this, many of the taxes, frankly, to be offensive, but this is at the tippy top of that list. And I'm excited that this is my 3rd year carrying this, trying to end this tax, my first year in the Senate. And, I think we're going to be able to make some progress this year.
And so the next question would be, if you cut that 1% grocery tax, it's about $80 million to $100 million reduction in the state's budget, correct?
Yep, that's right.
And so how does the state make up for that if that money goes to, for instance, education?
Yeah, so we have record revenues right now. We have had rising budgets every year that I've served. And I think that the state's going to be able to, I know that sounds like a giant number, and it is a giant number in real dollars. But when you look at a $40 billion budget, it is a very small portion of the budget. And I think the state can afford to let its people keep that money. And the reality is, too, a family of 4 spends about $8,600 a year on groceries. The state's portion of that 1%, that is about $86. Now, that might not seem like a lot to you, but to a lot of families, that's a full tank of gas. That's Christmas presents for one child. And people are going to spend that money somewhere else that is at a higher tax rate. So it's not going to just be absolutely net zero. There are going to be sales tax revenues off of that money then that gets reinvested in other ways at higher tax items.
So you're confident that there will be if it's 144 million or whatever it is the state loses out on, that the state will be able to make that money up somewhere else?
Well, I guess what I would say is, as a Republican, I don't know that the state needs to make it up somewhere else. These dollars belong to our families. And so I kind of start with rejecting the proposition that the state always needs more money. We have record revenues from other areas of tax right now, whether that's sales tax as the prices are going up in other areas. That means our income levels are going up in those other taxes, right? If something now costs $15, it used to cost $10. Well, a 10% tax on that is going to be a bigger number. So, but I don't know that I start from an idea of we need to replace dollars for dollar when we're making these tax cuts. And when you look at other states, like I said, we're one of only 8 states that still has this tax in place. This is a bipartisan idea. Republicans and Democrats have supported it across the country. And it is not necessary and vital. We're not going to no longer have plows on Highway 70 if we say, okay, listen, we're going to let people be able to buy things that they, are necessities of life at a no tax rate.
Sure. Missouri Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman is with us on KMOX, and the opposition to it, they would say that the difference in your grocery bill when you pay for your groceries would be negligible, that it's not even a number you would notice. Do you disagree with that?
Well, ask anybody who was angry about the gas tax that those very same people implemented, and see if they noticed. It's less amount out of pocket for that gas tax, and people sure as heck are feeling that. I think it's an idea about worldview. Do you think that money is better in the pocket of our citizens, or do you think it's better in the pocket of government? And I firmly believe people should be able to keep those dollars in their own pockets. And like I said, about $8,600 a year on groceries for a family of four. That would be about an $86 savings per family. And if you can't feel that, then count yourself lucky, right? That you're doing okay.
Yeah, and there isn't a ton of bipartisan consensus these days, it seems, on a lot of issues. And this one, as you mentioned, does. The tax on groceries tends to be viewed as a very regressive tax because while families with higher incomes usually spend more on food, lower income Americans spend a much higher percentage of their income on that food. So it ends up being a regressive tax. This is along those lines. What is the state of reducing or eliminating taxes on feminine hygiene products and or diapers and those necessities?
Yeah, so that's another bill that I have sponsored. We got a hearing this week on that. Similarly, or actually kind of a little bit different on those items. So back in the 60s, it used to be that people didn't have paper diapers or paper feminine hygiene products. So when those were released, the state decided that those should be taxed as a luxury item. Well, there's some crunchy friends of ours maybe who prefer to use paper diapers or reusable feminine hygiene products, but that's not most people in the state of Missouri. Most people see these items as very much necessities, and 60 years later, not a luxury item, certainly to have paper diapers. And so the proposal on that is that they be taxed like every other grocery item. That had a really favorable hearing. Curtis Trent and I each had a bill. Those are likely to be combined. And that hearing took place on Monday. And again, we have record surpluses in the state of Missouri. And I think as we're looking at places to return that money into the hands of Missourians, starting with the things that hurt our neighbors who have the least, makes the most sense.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman is with us here on KMOX. We talked last week a little bit about the sports betting bills that have been introduced in the state of Missouri as a form of revenue here for the state. And there is some pushback against that, though it would be beneficial knowing people are just driving to Illinois if they want to place a bet, or they're just driving to Kansas, to the state of Kansas if they want to do that. And that's revenue Missouri is missing out on. Where do you stand on those bills in support of legalizing sports betting?
Yeah, well, so we were watching the Super Bowl and my 14-year-old turns to me and says, "Mom, why can't we make sports betting legal in Missouri? Can't you do that? I thought you were elected to the Senate." And I laughed and told him that he was 14 and couldn't bet anywhere in the country, no matter where he lived. But listen, I'm in support of adults making those kinds of decisions for themselves. I have supported an expansion of sportsbook, but also I support an expansion of, or in clarification, anybody who travels anywhere around the state has seen video lottery terminals in gas stations or in bars and restaurants. And it's unclear right now. They're called gray machines because it's unclear whether they're legal or not. And I think we need to have a legal pathway for those video lottery terminals or VLT machines, as well as allowing sportsbook or sports betting in the state. So I know that's a top priority for many of us on both sides of the aisle. So I'm feeling hopeful that we're going to get that done this year.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman, we appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you for being with us, and happy birthday to your mom.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful day.
That is Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman out of the state of Missouri. That's this state. How about that? We are going to talk about something that's actually, it hasn't affected me yet, but I have seen it and I have felt like, this seems ripe for abuse. Like this could be a real problem here coming up. And Amy and I will talk about that with you in a moment on KMOX, but it is time for you to get your annual eye exam. If you have not done that yet, now's a great time to do it. And my friends at Ophthalmology Associates are the place that you want to go. Some really experienced doctors there, experts in LASIK surgery like doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Also, Robert Brusati and Andy Royer. They're all fantastic. I visited with Dr. Malhotra before, and he was awesome. And we talked about the LASIK procedure, and he said, this may not be a thing for you, but at some point in the future, you could be a candidate for this. And I like that he did not try to push that onto me. He said, here's what your issues are. You got a little bit of dry eye, and there's an easy fix here. Try this stuff. And I did, and it was great, and it has helped considerably. And whatever the problem you might have is, the people at Ophthalmology Associates can help you pinpoint. They can help you identify whatever the problem is and the correct solution for it. So give them a call to make your appointment at 314-966-5000. And by the way, most of your health insurance policies, most of them will at least help you pay for some, if not all, of your visit with Ophthalmology Associates. 314-966-5000 or yourEyeDoc.com.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 7.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
The remarkable story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons is one of the top musicals in show business history. Now, experience the real Jersey Boys, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, live and in concert Thursday, August 10th at the Steeple Theater. It's now on sale at Ticketmaster.com. From 111 Productions and Danny Zalisco presents.
When you have an electrical emergency, call Reinhold Electric right away. They answer their phone 24 hours a day to make sure they can get your power on and stay on as quickly as possible. If you are planning some changes, maybe you're doing a remodel or maybe building brand new, Reinhold Electric works with residential, commercial, and industrial. Having a small electrical issue with your house or maybe your electric panel, call on Reinhold Electric to come inspect it. Their number 314-631-1158, online at reinholdelectric.com.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is the show. The show continues on KMOX.
And I get sick when I'm around. I can't stand to be around. I hate everything about you. Everything about you.
It's the show on KMOX. Amy Marks, Chorus, Chris Ranji. We hope that you have enjoyed the show. If you've missed anything, it'll be on the Odyssey app when we are done. It's all posted. You can go back and listen to the podcast of the show, AUDACY. Download the app. Also, KMOX.com. And in case you did not know, throughout the show, you can be listening on 98.7 FM. Just like you can listen on 1120 AM. We have an FM signal. The point is we are reachable. We are everywhere.
A lot of people don't know about the FM, and I will say it is crystal clear, especially just all along the 40 corridor. It's crystal clear.
Yep. And most places I go, I can hear it perfectly fine.
Always have it on the FM.
It doesn't have to be on the 40 corridor. It's all over. It's great.
Well, I think it's stronger than they initially thought because it was initially just kind of that heart of 40, not too far west, not too far east. I have kept it on 98.7. I have driven all over south, north, west, east, and I get it. So try that. Okay. Christian Schneider, he has been on this station before. He's been on with me. He is a writer columnist for the National Review. He does other things as well. At any rate, he posted a picture from a Chipotle in, I'm guessing where he lives, Wisconsin. He said, why we can't have nice things. People are stealing too much food from the online ordering shelves at Chipotle. So now you have to ask an employee to get it for you, which slows everything up. And he posts a picture of his Chipotle store, and there's a sign hanging on the shelves, what was previously the pickup shelves. It said, due to high volume theft, please show your cashier your confirmation. Thanks, management. And I'm not going to lie, I have picked up food from various restaurants and I thought, what stops people from just walking in and grabbing a bag of a food order? Because there's no one manning the shelves.
Right.
There are 30 bags when you walk up, you look for your name. So not only could you grab the wrong one, but people could walk into any store, like a Panera, Chipotle, Qdoba, that type of thing, and grab the order and leave.
I did one time do the call ahead order thing or the mobile order app at a Chipotle. It was in Brentwood, and I went to pick it up and it was the exact same thing. I thought, what is stopping somebody? You could just very easily grab, or, like you said, grab the wrong thing, which I think I actually almost did. I grabbed a bag. I'm like, oh, wait, that's not me. And then I went and got the other thing. But of course, this would get abused. I wonder what the numbers are really here. Like how much is getting stolen from this Chipotle where they've had to put up that sign? And have you seen it somewhere else? I haven't seen it locally here, or if there is a sign, I didn't notice it. But I'm curious to know. 314-436-7900 before we say goodbye here. But it's efficient. It would be great if these places could just hire somebody whose job it is to stand at the mobile order pickup area. And you show them your ticket, and then they do the thing. Otherwise, I'm assuming somebody has to come from behind the counter where they're already working and then come deal with this.
Yeah.
Which does slow things up quite a bit.
Yeah. Especially, they're so short-staffed.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get the orders out. And so now you have to dedicate an employee who could be making food or otherwise serving, depending on the restaurant, to just manning the station.
But I love the mobile order ahead feature. And there is the local coffee shop that I've been to. It's called Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
And
there's several locations.
I use the mobile order ahead thing all the time.
All the time.
If you're listening and you hate everything I say, love this one thing and then follow me, okay? If this is the only thing you take away from what I'm about to tell you ever on this show, fine. Then I'll be more than happy.
Oh my gosh, just say it.
To have just persuaded one person on this.
Okay.
If you do the mobile order ahead, you may not order more than 4 items at the most. You do not get to order 12 things for the office and then come in there and like, hey, where's all my stuff? Because all you're doing is creating a backup. I went into my local Starbucks, and there were, I think, 12 people waiting, and nobody got their stuff. And there was it seemed like a full place, like everybody was working. It didn't seem short-staffed or anything like that. And here are all these people waiting for their order because some doofus, probably with an office, ordered ahead like 12 items, and they were just sitting there, and they kept putting them down in this area, and nobody picked them up. Nobody claimed them.
Nothing more demoralizing than walking into a Starbucks and seeing in the pickup area 2 of the cup trays filled and then an empty cup tray sitting next to it with maybe 1 drink in it. And this is a disaster.
Yes.
They've backed everything up.
Yeah.
they're focusing on this one order because somebody decided to buy their entire office coffee.
Yeah.
There should be a limit of 4 drinks.
It's very nice of you that you decided to buy coffee for everybody else in the office.
Mhm.
Don't do it, because what you're doing is you're creating a problem for everybody else who has to go into the coffee shop and get stuff. And this goes for anything. You don't get to call ahead orders of a million things during rush hour when everybody's coming in to pick stuff up. I don't care if it's Chipotle. You can't order things for 20 people because you have the Easy app right in front of you.
Mhm.
Would you do it in the store? Would you go into the store to the register and order for 15 people? Would you do that?
No, I would never do that.
Yeah. So don't ever do it now.
Also, here's what I don't understand. There are several Starbucks with drive-thrus. There's one in Wildwood. That drive-through line can be 35 cars deep, and people still pull up to the drive-through. It doesn't affect me. I just don't understand when you have the mobile order option to order your drink. And here's what I do. I navigate around the 40-car line in the drive-through, wondering, are they going to be there for 2 hours? Pull into my spot. I get out of the car. I walk up. My drink is there, sitting on the counter. I grab it. I walk back to my car. The whole process takes 17 seconds, and I don't understand the drive-through.
I don't either.
Even
That's why I always go into.
And it's not always like, oh, well, it's a car, a minifan, or an SUV full of kids. Nope. Sometimes it's just a guy. Maybe the guy is trying to avoid work. I don't understand.
It's supreme laziness.
How, though?
I just don't want to get out of my car.
So bad that you'll sit in a line for
I think
45 minutes?
Yes, I think people absolutely would just stay in the car, wait an extra 15 minutes so they don't have to get out of the car. Park it, get out, go inside, go back to your car, open it, and leave. I promise you it's all about being lazy.
It's unbelievable.
Isn't it?
I don't know what I would wait 45 minutes for. $1 million, maybe?
I'd think about it.
But not a coffee.
Amy, let's do it again tomorrow. Dave Glover show's coming up next. We will hang out with them for an hour. Everything's on the Odyssey app. Go get it and listen. We love you. It is the show on KMOX.
I know your dreams. I've been everything you wanna be.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount